Fellas, how the fuck you doing on a Saturday weekend, man? It's great to see you guys here tuning in this afternoon. We have a special today, man. We have XRP Money Signs. You probably know him. He's been on the show before. He has a presentation here primarily to do with XRP. I know sometimes it's hard to kind of shuffle with a lot of the information we've been discussing. Typically, yes, through the week we stick to stocks, GameStop, IEP, Bed Bath and Beyond, things like that, and it's very hard to merge everything in one show, right? So there's a lot happening in terms of development with XRP. I don't know how many of you actually own XRP out there or any crypto by chance, but yes, I do believe that we are in the cusp of a real kind of shift in the financial markets here, right? So it is very important to learn this stuff. So again, maybe after today, you might leave, feeling a little bit better in terms of whether you have an investment in this, or maybe you may want to add an investment in this. So it's good to see you guys this afternoon. Again, if you don't give a shit about crypto XRP, maybe this episode is not for you. But for the people out there tuning in this afternoon, it's great to see you guys here on a Saturday. I don't expect too many people. It is noon, man. Some people are still fucking sleeping the hangovers off, things like that. But we're here this afternoon to discuss a little bit of XRP because I like it. I think that there's some potential here, and big money could potentially move this thing, especially when you have the United States essentially putting XRP in their entire kind of crypto reserve here, right? Bitcoin was listed, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, four of the main ones. So maybe, just maybe, we'll see if we can maybe make this like a weekly thing, maybe like Saturdays or something. We come back and we talk about some of these cryptos that are being a part of the reserve, right? Give some respect to Bitcoin, give some respect to Ethereum, give some respect to XRP, and obviously Cardano as well. And there's a whole slew of other cryptos out there as well that are making moves across this market. So good to see you guys. Let's get in the legality. We'll jump straight into it, man. XRP has a excellent presentation for us this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to learning something as well. So keep in mind, man, I am not a financial expert, nor am I a financial advisor, right? So please seek the avenues to do so. You're not going to find it here. A lot of this is opinion. A lot of this is speculation. A whole bunch, man, is entertainment, if you haven't guessed it already. We like getting together. We like talking about the stock, and that's really all there is to it, man. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind, any guests who come to the show, man, nobody here is a professional. So if you hear any opinions, speculation, TA, things like that, keep in mind, man, nobody here is a professional. We like getting together. We like talking about the stock, and that's really all there is to it, man. We have links provided out in the chat if anybody would like to join us. If you have a position in XRP or you have an opinion on it, we'd love to hear it, man. Doesn't matter if it's bullish or bearish. We want to hear all opinions here at the PP Show. So let's dive into it, man, this afternoon. Chat, please give a warm welcome to none other than XRP. All right, what's going on, XRP? How the fuck are we doing on this afternoon, on this Saturday, my man?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah, we can.
I'm doing good. You see my screen?
Yeah, so I have your presentation. I'm going to pull up right now for everybody. Before we dive into that, XRP, what are we going to learn today? What is on the plate here in terms of regarding XRP and this crypto asset? Let's hear it.
With this presentation, I'm going to be talking about XRP, the new cryptocurrency, or I shouldn't say crypto, I guess stablecoin, RLUSD. I'll be talking about the vision of Ripple, and I will be also talking about the XRP ledger consensus.
All right, excellent. Right on. All right, well, let's go ahead and dive into it, man. I'm down to learn something this afternoon. Excellent. I love when people come prepared, man, with a presentation and all. You got the graphics going as well. So walk us through it, XRP. Also, I have a couple posts here that I do want to cover as we go. Obviously, we do have the video of Brad Garlinghouse kind of talking about, recently the SEC has kind of backed off when it comes to XRP. And for some of you out there who have been in the crypto space as long as I have, they've been part of this. They've been involved in this lawsuit excuse me, for nearly 7 years, right? I mean, this is a very long time that they've been dealing with, like the SEC, for instance. They missed the 2021 bull run that we saw, essentially with Bitcoin when it ran from 20,000 to, I can't remember what the top was in 2021, 2022, but they did miss. I think they even missed actually two bull runs, one in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, and one in 2021. So it is very interesting kind of seeing, jump to today, where the price has kind of gone. And, just some background with me in terms of XRP, when I started to add to my position, it was around the time when they had actually delisted it off of all major exchanges at the time. You could not go to Coinbase to buy it. You couldn't go to anywhere to essentially acquire this XRP token, right? You had to basically go to, there was probably one or two very small exchanges that were probably selling it at the time, but those are like ones that were like, I think there was one in like Asia and stuff like that. So not very easily accessible here in the US. One of the things that I was able to do is, back in whenever we had like these, there was a coin called BNB. Okay. It's like, Binance's coin. Okay. And what I used to do is when you couldn't buy this shit off exchanges, I used to swap BNB coin for XRP. And that was how I was able to add to my position in like 20 cents, because it basically everybody thought the thing was dead, right? They've been under this like scrutinization of the SEC for 7 years. Nobody thought anything was going to happen, but I saw an opportunity. So I loaded up my bags, around 20 cents. Now jump to today. It's almost about $3. I think it's like 240. And now, the United States wants to put it in their crypto reserve, right? So I do see the potential. I saw the potential very early on. I wish I would have, purchased it when it was under 1 cent when they first originally launched in 2016, but it wasn't really on my radar. But that's a little background in terms of when I started to buy it and things like that. So XRP, do you mind expanding upon when you kind of entered your position originally into XRP?
Oh, so this how I originally found out about it. It's I had three I guess three people technically told me about it. So one is when I was working at my past job. One of my coworkers said, you should get into XRP. And I also was under that stigma that isn't it under a lawsuit? So I didn't even want to touch it at that moment. So I didn't want to touch it. Another key point, if I can remember correctly, I watched this YouTuber. His name is Andre Jick. And years ago, he was also talking about XRP, how it's going to be used by the banks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I was interested and I wanted to get in, but I also was under that stigma, like it's under a lawsuit. Maybe I shouldn't touch it, right? Third, I say the best for last. I actually often learned it off of a YouTuber. His name is Lou versus Wall Street. Rest in peace. He did die, unfortunately, last year. But he did explain XRP, and that's when, I finally hopped on the train and all that stuff. I saw more bullish news and bullish sentiment on it, so I end up getting it in.
All right, excellent. Well, walk us through it, man. And again, as you kind of go through this presentation, I will have a couple questions here, obviously, if you can expand upon. And I do have some posts that I do want to touch upon too as we go throughout your presentation. Okay. Take it away for XRP.
Yes, real quick. I'm stuck on my PowerPoint screen, so all the posting on stuff I can't see it, so you have to read it to me. So I don't get out.
No worries. Yeah, I'll read it out. No problem.
Okay, copy. All right, so you ready?
Yep.
All right, so you see right there.
Yep, we have Ripple. We have Ripple Labs listed here.
All right, and you've seen the, like I said, affect Ripple Labs, and also goes with the background of this. What you see in the background is a bunch of waves. It's blue and it's white, right? The reason is for that is because Ripple's going to be providing all liquidity around the world, or as I say, the global financial system. So it ties in the theme of this presentation. It's all about private liquidity. Ready for the next one?
Yep.
All right. Ripple.
All right. You want me to read it?
Yeah, you can
So,
read it.
all right, I'll read the slides and then you expand upon it. Okay, so it says Ripple. Ripple is a fintech company based out of San Francisco. Ripple goal is to transform the cross-border payments industry itself. Ripple's targeted clientele are financial institutions, corporations, and governments, mainly being banks, things like that. We also have Ripple's primary focus is working within the XRP ledger and providing liquidity throughout the whole entire world. Go ahead, XRP.
So, like I said, so this is one of the. I'm also glad I'm having this live stream because there's a lot of misconceptions. We do know, and I'm mainly going to talk about the last part. So we do know it's just that the reason why Bitcoin is as big as it is because it's decentralization. Nobody knows solely who's the true owner of Bitcoin, right? So it's made for everybody. The thing about Ripple and why people shit on Ripple all the time is he's like, oh, it's for the elites, it's for the global, financial system. It's to keep us locked down. Which some of those points is absolutely kind of true. Remember, Ripple's targeted clientele is financial institutions, corporations, and governments. It never once said retail or retail investors or everyday people. So understand, this company is not for us. We will benefit off financially, not financial advice, but it's not for us. We're not the targeted clientele. It's for financial institutions, banks, hedge funds, corporations, Google, Amazon, governments, obviously United States government and others around the world. And that's a lot of misconception. This company's made for them, not for us. You just have an opportunity to get some money out of this opportunity, possibly.
Yeah, and they can move a lot of money is like the main thing, right? Is that like typically people don't understand that if they use this globally, right? I mean, the fact that the whole world kind of moves money around, and right now they're utilizing Swift. Swift is very much outdated, right? And I'm sure you probably have some slides once we get to Swift, but Swift is majorly outdated at this point in time, right? It was created, many many years ago, and jump to today, you have the ability to move, billions, if not trillions of dollars within seconds, right? And that's kind of what this entire asset was kind of built to do, right? Benefit the banks, benefit worldwide kind of the financial system to move money around. So I just want to add that as well, in terms of being able to move trillions of dollars, like this is the type of asset that you would typically use for that. So.
All right. And just to touch on that topic just real quick, for example, if you let's just say let me put a country. Let's just say I'm in Mexico and let's just say you're in Malaysia. If I try to send currency to you with the Swift network and I send you $1 million, there's a possible chance I have to pay a fee of $10,000 due to the banks going back and forth with each other. You know how well the network connects and all that stuff. With Ripple, I can still send you that $1 million, for pretty much fractions of a penny. But even if there was some type of like a large fee, the most I've seen for XRP is 30 cents. Send $1 million compared to sending it with the Swift network, which is $10,000. So
Right.
also keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, that was the major thing too. Before like take Ethereum for instance, before they moved from proof of work to proof of stake, you'd be paying insane gas fees just to move something like Ethereum. Takes about like 15 20 minutes to move Ethereum, maybe a little bit faster. Maybe it's like 5 or 6 minutes. But at one point in time, you're paying like $150 in fees. Look at Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is more of so, and I like all cryptos, right? I don't think that XRP is the number one crypto out there. I don't think Bitcoin is number one. I think that every single crypto kind of falls into its category, right? Bitcoin obviously being like a digital piece of gold. Typically, it's it's created for something as a store of value, right? When it comes to Bitcoin, takes an hour to send out. Yeah, the fees are not too high when you send Bitcoin out, but again, it takes a long time to process and send this stuff out. Same thing with Ethereum and some other cryptos out there. You're correct. When I've sent thousands of dollars in XRP, to a wallet or to an exchange or things like that, typically you're looking at less than $1, right, in terms of fees, and it gets there in seconds. I mean, it's very, very quick. So, it is a interesting piece of technology, most certainly. We can go to the next page if you like.
Gotcha.
So it says here a little bit of the history. Ripple Labs was founded in 2012 by Chris Larson and Jed McCaleb. It says their vision was to create a decentralized digital payment protocol focused on fast, low-cost cross-border payments. The XRP ledger, originally called Ripple Consensus Ledger, launched in 2012 within the XRP cryptocurrency.
So this right here, I mean, it just explains pretty much everything. But there's one little thing I did leave out. Before Ripple always existed before 2012, but it was called Open Coin. So that was just it. That's the only thing I left out. But later on, it changed its name to 2012, to Ripple, and it had a new vision in general. So that's pretty much it for this one. So I can go to the next slide.
Okay. So it says here, yeah.
If this one, you don't have to read everything on this one. I made it a little too long.
Well, I think it's important. Right?
You want to read this? Because I was
going to so I'll read it.
Slides. We got 37 slides, so I'm just letting you know.
We're not in a rush here. I mean, I'm sure most people tune in. Anyone who's tuned in right now obviously has nothing going on for their Saturday, so they're probably we're just kind of hanging out here. So it says here, Ripple's team. All right, we have the chief executive officer, which is the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse. That is the guy you typically see making public statements on X, if you see in terms of XRP. So it says Brad Garlinghouse leads Ripple's global operations and strategy, former CEO of Hightail, and held senior positions at AOL and also Yahoo. They have their chief technology officer, which is David Schwartz. David Schwartz is one of the original architects of the XRP ledger and oversees Ripple's technical strategy, former NSA employee. And one thing I want to add about David Schwartz is that David Schwartz, their CTO, has said that, for XRP to actually function how it needs to function, he has been cited as saying that this coin would naturally, it would make sense for it to be 1 million per coin. And some people think that's absolutely fucking insane. How do you get a million per coin with the market cap and things like that? I think it's bigger than just looking at the market cap itself. I mean, we're talking about the potential to move trillions and trillions of dollars in and out of XRP, right? Yes, the market cap would probably look something absolutely insane, but really it's the flow of money going in and out via XRP, which he believes, for it to function at its basically at the top, it would need to be about 1 million per coin. He has been stated also to say that it can reach as high as 10,000 per coin. And there is also some memes out there where you typically see this 589. Some people believe that, the coin can get as high as 589. A little bit of tinfoil out there too is that I believe Brad Garlinghouse as well on X, if you look, he only follows 589 people. So there is some tin obviously to some of this stuff too. There was and I don't know if you have it in your presentation. There was like a tinfoil account called it was like Mr. Bear or Bearsley or something like that, where someone believed that and it was actually and Bearable Guy, yeah, that's right. He would drop a lot of tinfoil, right? And there was a specific rug. I don't know if I have the actual video, but there was a specific rug that he had posted. Yep. I think many years ago, and then the CTO was showing something on the news. You know what I'm talking about, right? With Gary Gensler, and that same rug was in his room. So so I do believe that the CTO was in fact that guy who was dropping a lot of tinfoil because, some people connected the dots there.
Yes, the CTO, David Schwartz, he has that same rug that's been posted in all the photos or pictures with Bearable Guy.
Yes,
that rug is out of the house, and he actually posted it recently. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that blew my fucking mind, man, because for a long time, who the fuck is this guy just dropping this tinfoil? And they would be really driving home the fact that, something major was going to happen with XRP. And jump to today, I'm very impressed to see it actually be included kind of in the crypto reserve with the United States, because you're going to have a lot of countries follow in and replicate what the United States is doing. We also have President Monica Long. Monica Long was promoted to president after serving as general manager. She has been instrumental in driving Ripple's marketing and communication efforts. Chief legal officer, the CLO, is Stuart Alderoty. You typically do see Alderoty. You do see him on X as well, pictured with also Brad Garlinghouse. He was actually pictured with Brad and also Donald Trump as well in a photo together as well. Stewart manages Ripple's legal affairs, bringing extensive experience from previous roles in financial services and law. The others are John Billich, Eric Van Miltenberg, Kristen Hollers, and Eric Jack, and we also have Mariel Kelly. Go ahead and expand a little bit upon everyone if you can, XRP.
Well, this right here is already, said and done, so this is all good. But I do want to touch on David Schwartz one more time.
Sure, yeah.
Like I said, he is a former NSA employee, 3-letter agency. Now, there's a rumor, and I'm saying allegedly, that he possibly could be one of the pioneers behind Bitcoin. Some people are saying that he might be Satoshi Nakamoto, or part of the 4-man group for Bitcoin.
Oh shit, we just lost XRP. All right, we got you back in here. Are you there?
You get yes.
Yep.
Okay, real quick. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. So David Schwartz is one of the NSA employees. It's rumored that he's part of the group of Satoshi Nakamoto, one of the creators of Bitcoin, but people believe it was a 4-man group. If you look at the IEP as where Bitcoin was made, it was made in Arizona, right? And guess where David Schwartz allegedly worked at? The NSA in Arizona. So people have been putting 2 and 2 together that he helped made Bitcoin like network. Then he, transfers his talents over to the XRP ledger. But like I said, it's all legit. It's just rumors.
They will also, and just to add to that too, I know what you're talking about. They had actually found that they had found that on the same IP that where Bitcoin was created was the same as XRP as well. So I will say that it is very interesting. The connections here. Some believe that Bitcoin is really a beta coin, is really why it was given its name. And that kind of, it's very interesting to analyze some of this stuff. Obviously, when it comes to Bitcoin, XRP, stuff like that. Look, I truly believe that Bitcoin is in fact a form of digital gold, essentially. So, I do find the benefits of it. I don't, you typically see some people out there also say that, Bitcoin will go to zero and XRP will run up. I don't think so. I think that a lot of these cryptos can, in fact, kind of thrive within their environments, and Bitcoin is one of the major ones out there that kind of move the market itself. So just something to add. Also, your screen is coming up kind of blurry. Ramez Jamali with the 100. Appreciate the love, Ramez. Your screen is a little blurry there. Are you able to possibly reload? Are you on your hotspot or what?
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, okay. Go to the next page for me. Let me see if maybe it clears it up. Are you there, XRP?
I'm still here.
All right. Can you go to the next page?
Yes.
Okay. And then here, do this real quick. Close what you're sharing and then re-pull it up. Just reshare
I got you.
it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if that fixes it. This is a little bit blurry here. NNF says, get Jake on the show. I don't think he legally can. Ramez Jamali with the 100. Appreciate the love, Ramez. Ramez is making it rain with $100 bills, man. Appreciate the love. See if you can re-pull that up, XRP.
Okay, let me see real quick.
Yeah, so reshare screen and let's see. All right, let's see if this cleared it up. It's still kind of blurry, but we'll work with it. I'll just read it for everybody out there.
Okay. Okay, you see it now?
Yes, I think it's kind of clearing up a little bit. So it says board of directors consists of government, corporations, and financial institutions. I'll read this for everybody. It's clear enough for me. I'll read it for everybody out there. It says government, formal Obama/Clinton advisors, NASA, NSA, Federal Reserve, SEC, U.S. Treasury, and FDIC. Corporations, Accenture, PayPal, Prosper, Google, Yahoo, Apple, Amazon, Uber, and Bloomberg. We also have financial institutions, which is Citi, Swift, HSBC, and JP Morgan. Ripple's also listed here at the bottom, executive chairman Chris Larson and CEO Brad Garlinghouse as well. We got Ramez Jamali again with the 100. Appreciate the love this afternoon, Ramez. Appreciate the love, my man. SZ with the 10. Appreciate the love, fellas. Is PP day drinking? No, I haven't had a drink in, I don't know, a while, actually. All right. Walk us through this one, XRP. I know it's blurry for some people out there, but we'll read it for you, okay?
Okay, like I said, this one, it just, just the board of directors, what it consists of. But, I mean, if I had to add anything to it, it's more than just say, it's just that we got...
Uh-oh.
Me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You lagged out there for a second. Go ahead.
Okay, like I said, we have, I mean, the keynotes is pretty much just that we put at the FDIC. And people don't know who the FDIC is. It's the people that insures all the regional banks. So JP Morgan, the City, Bank of America, they ensure that you have at least about, or they can cover up to $250,000 if something was to happen to your bank account. They're on the board of Ripple, and it just shows like it's really the money. Also, the Federal Reserve, SEC. Now, come on, think about it. One of the people for the SEC was on the board of directors. I think the person left, but the fact is, how's the SEC going to sue Ripple but have one of the SEC people on their board? It makes no sense. So
well, I want to add too, some people have kind of, and this is like the XRP community as well, have kind of pieced together that they believe the SEC sued them for this long because the banks were trying to accumulate as much of this crypto as cheap as they can. I mean, look at the price difference from when they were under this lawsuit to when the lawsuit was basically almost over. You saw the coin run from, under $1. It started like 25 cents all the way up to, well, really originally it was under a cent. But if we're talking about in the last year and a half, you saw the coin itself go from 20 cents to nearly $3, right? I mean, that's a huge percentage increase. And I do believe that the main reason was because a lot of these institutions were trying to kind of hoard as much of this coin as possible, right? It's not that crazy to think. And jump to today, I mean, if you're an institution out there and you know something about this asset or this crypto or something, you're going to want to accumulate it, under 20 cents, 25 cents versus buying it at over $2, right? And that's typically where, a lot of retail people started to take their positions at $1, $2, things like that. So, a lot of these banks, I think, because they're moving millions, if not possibly billions of dollars into this kind of asset, it makes sense to be able to invest in it, obviously very early like this. And I think, people at these banks have their connections to whether that be the SEC or possibly people who leak information. But I think it was very clear that, you even saw that in the coin price itself, where it kind of ran up very quickly, even when the SEC lawsuit wasn't even concluded yet. The SEC lawsuit just officially got concluded like about a week ago, but even still, it's still not fully dismissed yet. So we are heading towards that, at least in my opinion, but it does look very interesting. Ramez Jamali again with the $100 tip. Appreciate the love, Ramez. Holy cow, man. Appreciate it. All right. Take it away for us, XRP.
The next one?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Ramez is throwing hundreds like it's nothing, man. Right on. Appreciate your support, man. It says here, a lawsuit, XRP is not a security. And that was the biggest thing that was going on with the SEC and XRP at the time, right? They wanted to basically rule it as a security, right? But they say, no, this is not a security. And you typically saw that when Gary Gensler was in office, like they were going after every single fucking crypto company out there, right? Jump to today, right? You have Mark Uyeda or something like that, who's now in. We're obviously still waiting for Paul Atkins to get confirmed at the end of this month, which is March 27th. But this entire presidency has basically become very more relaxed on crypto. And you can even see that reflected at the SEC as well. they've dropped a lot of these cases, right? For the last 2-3 weeks, we've covered it very briefly here on the show. I'm sure some of you guys who tune in almost every day, every week, you guys saw us cover some of that stuff. You saw the SEC drop one after the other in terms of these lawsuits. So you're seeing a more relaxed type of SEC as well. Also, just recently, we just covered, I think last night, there's a big shakeup happening at the SEC as well. A lot of people getting fired, things like that. So they are making changes, in some of these like regulatory bodies. It says here, Ripple was attacked by the SEC by claiming that they sold unregulated securities to large institutions, and also claiming that XRP is in fact a security. Because of the lawsuit, Ripple was unable to expand its business into the United States because the uncertainty in XRP was suppressed of its true value and taken off of most major exchanges in the United States. A ruling was declared on 7/13/23 that XRP is not a security, embarking success on the XRP army. On 3/19/25, which was just a few days ago, the SEC has dropped the lawsuit on Ripple/XRP, claiming a victory on the biggest crypto lawsuit in history. I want to play a quick video for everybody about Brad, because we're on this topic right now. Ramez Jamali again with the $100 tip. My man, appreciate the fucking love, man. Ramez just donated like $500 to the show, dude. Appreciate your love, Ramez. Let's take a look at this quick video, okay? If we can, XRP, if you don't mind. I'm going to play it right now for everybody. This is Brad Garlinghouse, so you guys can see. Like I said, not everybody is super privy to some of this stuff, but let's take a quick look at it here. Hold on one second. Let me find it. Brad Garlinghouse, where is he at? Hold on one second. I was having some issues with my oh shit. I hope I have it on here. Hold on. For some reason on X, like it makes me oh, here it is right here. Let's take a look at this video. All right, sorry, fellas. Since we're on the topic of them getting released here.
As many of you know, just over 4 years ago, the United States SEC filed its lawsuit against Ripple. I'm finally able to announce that this case has ended. It's over. Sitting here today and reflecting on 4 years ago, it seems very clear to me that this case was doomed from the start. In so many ways, it was the first major shot fired in the war on crypto. I truly felt like I knew then that Ripple was not only on the right side of the law, but I felt that we were also going to be proven to be on the right side of history.
It really, I think, sends an ominous sign for innovation around cryptocurrency in the United States. Picking winners in general has not been something the US government should be in the business of doing.
I think the judge realizes this is not just about Ripple. This will have broader implications.
As Mary Jo White, the former head of the SEC, has said publicly that she views this as a dead wrong, and the SEC is dead wrong on this decision.
Ripple is the first company with the resources, determination, and grit to fight back against the agency's overreach. And today, this journey finally concludes. Today is a victory and a long overdue surrender by the SEC. The SEC, under Chairman Gary Gensler, went after the whole industry, using the same arguments they used against us. They weren't out to protect investors. They were out to intimidate and terrorize. The regulator, whose primary purpose is to protect investors, went all in on a non-fraud, victimless lawsuit and wiped out $15 billion of value from innocent XRP holders. The SEC was the market manipulator. The SEC wasn't seeking justice. They were seeking to win a case at any cost. Forces inside our government aligned with the SEC and embarked on a campaign of debanking anyone associated with the crypto industry. This was lawfare, a war of legal terror. Fortunately, the judge rebuked the SEC multiple times in this journey. First, for lacking a, quote, faithful allegiance to the law. The SEC was sanctioned in our case for discovery abuses, and the pattern was repeated in other crypto cases.
Well, let's just say they're trying to confuse you.
We won then on every critical legal point, proving that the digital asset XRP is not a security. That is now the law, and those wins have laid the groundwork for policymakers to adopt a set of rules for crypto that are in line with nearly a century of securities law. With today's news, the war on crypto has ended in defeat for those who turned our own government against a technology and an entire industry. I'm heartened that we have paved the way for other industry players to see the value in not backing down, and for others to use our legal playbook to fight back. We are now closing a chapter in crypto history. I think we're all stronger for our prior litigation successes and today's landmark victory. Progress is worth fighting for. We won multiple pro-crypto victories at the ballot box last year. It's time to make the US the crypto capital of the world. Thankfully, we have new leadership in executive and legislative branches of our government. That leadership is actively seeking a rational and constructive way forward on crypto. Let's make the most of this. This is an incredibly promising moment. Let's come together. Let's leave the tribalism behind. Let me make it clearer that my main message, what Ripple's main message today, is about gratitude. It's gratitude to everyone who stood by us, to every Ripple employee, to the incredible legal team here at Ripple, led by the best chief legal officer in the business, Stu Alderodi. Gratitude certainly to the XRP family, to our customers, to our partners. Thank you. We couldn't have won this battle without all of you being behind us and working together. I truly believe we all agree there's immense opportunity with the largest economy in the world finally taking a pro-crypto and pro-innovation approach to build this technology in order to solve real-world problems for people around the planet. This was a fight Ripple never wanted, but one we knew we had to win. And today, emphatically, we have. Thank you.
PP, you there?
Yeah, sorry. Oh, and your screen is a lot clearer now.
Okay, yeah. I was about to tell you right now. I got off my hotspot and my phone just went off hotspot and went back to my regular Wi-Fi. So I've had to play with it a little bit.
This is better. Yeah, let's leave it like this. This is okay.
It got off by itself, so
Gotcha.
Monitor a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, just like with that video, right? You know, the fact that the SEC really fucked with a lot of people's money, right? The fact that this lawsuit, you know, XRP basically missed 2 giant bull runs, 2018, 2021, due to a lot of these lawsuits, right? Being delisted off major exchanges, things like that. I think that the company has in fact come a long way, right? And I like personally Brad Garlinghouse. I think he's a smart guy. I like their team, their CTO. I like what they have to say because they truly are telling you out there that, and there's even some posts we'll take a look at where some people are speculating that there's simply not going to be enough XRP to go around for everybody, right? Once these institutions buy in and they start holding it and they start utilizing it for their cross-border payment system, there's not going to be a lot to go around. I think in terms of XRP, there's like, how many coins are there? Like 50 billion or something like that?
100 billion.
100 billion, but there's only 50 billion in circulation, right?
Well, that's later in my slide.
Okay, we'll take a look into that.
No, you're good. It's just later the slide. It's so I can expand upon it. Are you ready?
Gotcha. Yeah, let's go to the next page here. So it says here circulation. Oh, perfect. So it says XRP 100 billion coins to ever exist. Ripple was gifted 80 billion coins to use for their business purposes. Ripple owns 4 billion coins. Ripple has control over 40 billion coins in escrow. The rest of the coins were sold to companies directly, about 36 billion. That leaves 20 billion coins floating around. Out of 20 billion, 11 billion coins have been acquired by companies. 9 billion coins are held on crypto exchanges. Out of the 9 billion, retail only owns about 2 billion, aka supply shock. Now, in terms of this data, are you more going off of what they have in terms of on crypto exchanges? Because we can't forget there's a lot of people out there who store their XRP in offline wallets too. So could it be in fact that retail owns a lot more than what you have displayed here in terms of your data?
So real quick, let me just get this out of the way. XRP has a burn rate. So it's not exactly 100 billion anymore. It has been 99 billion. 13 million has been burned off for the past 10 years. Let me just say that in general. So out there. Now, Ripple owning 4 billion coins themselves, I believe that is updated. But Ripple having control over 40 billion coins has been going down. Lately, they have been releasing some coins out of escrow. Right? And this is where people say, oh my God, Ripple's dumping on us. Technically, yes. Technically, yes, they're diluted. So basically, escrow is not really in tie with circulation. That's why at first you said 50 billion, right? But 40 is held somewhere else, which is the escrow. like I said, monthly. In my presentation, you'll see later. It's just that they release some billions of coins. So now it's not even 40 billion coins. It's honestly probably 34 billion coins. So I think they released almost 6 billion coins, but I have to recheck again. But
Gotcha.
like some of the coins were sold directly to companies. So even though they're in lawsuit, some American companies, I believe they already have XRP, but they can't explain on their balance sheet, because of the lawsuit going on.
So let me ask you this. How much do you think the United States would put in for their crypto reserve? I mean, they would obviously buy quite a bit of it, no?
That's later. I'm not going to spoil it now, but that is later.
Okay. Yeah. Because I would imagine that the United States would want to purchase a lot of this, right? But yeah, we'll go ahead and go to the next page here.
Now, real quick before I go on to the next page, let me answer your original questions because I got a little sidetracked. Retail, it's already been estimated they own they say about 1% of the supply to 1 to 2% of the supply. That sounds kind of accurate, So for it, oh my god, yeah, that sounds about accurate. I was going to add something else to it.
All right.
Yeah, but there's also a website. It's called XRP Rich List. Maybe I'll send you a link. You just pull it up and you'll see where all this crypto has gone because it's not all exchanges. But there's also a new report also coming out. And I want y'all to hear me clearly. All of the crypto exchanges combined together, they don't have 2 billion coins now. I heard it's under 1 billion coins they're going to sell to retail. So technically for, I don't want to say it, but for the poor people like us, the peasants, it's only under 1 billion that we can purchase on exchanges. So if you're going to make a decision, make it quick. But we can move to the next slide.
Wow. All right. Right on. So escrow, it says Ripple controls about 40 billion coins each month. Ripple releases 1 billion coins, but put 800 million coins back in escrow. So technically 200 million. Rumors are going around what will the escrow be used for? Some say for the BIS. Others are saying it will burn to mint more RLUSD. Another rumor is that the US has already purchased 20% of the escrow, and it will be directed to the United States Treasury Department, possibly wiping out the U.S. 35 trillion debt. And I do want to add this too. I'm just going to pull this up real quick before you expand upon this as well. There was a alert for like a major whale. How much was it for? There was a major whale. I can't find it here, but they had dumped $237 million into a position. I can't find it right now, but maybe I'll be able to find it in a little bit. But you can kind of see whales starting to acquire it as well. I do want to show this as well because BlackRock has kind of been popping up a lot more recently too within the space, tokenization of shares. You've seen stock, things like that. Here's an example here. This is from Steph is Crypto. Breaking, BlackRock may be positioning 9 trillion, yes, with the T, into XRP. If true, this changes everything. So I think you could have a lot of people like BlackRock, banks, things like that, that inject a lot of fucking money into this thing because they see the benefits of it, right? And yes, it is kind of, comparatively from XRP to other cryptos, it is less kind of decentralized, in my opinion. It is more kind of centralized. And some people say, some people you often comment to me, PP, why are you talking about XRP? It's not decentralized. It goes against everything crypto. And yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, right? But the fact is that there is most certainly money to be made, whether it's decentralized or centralized. And we are on the cusp of XRP coming out of this lawsuit and potentially, the fact that it's kind of coming into the crypto reserve, there's a lot of money to be made here, whether it's centralized or decentralized. So, but I'm not arguing the fact that it is more of a centralized type of coin. It is more of like a quote unquote banker's institutional coin. And they don't want retail to ride this thing, right? That's why typically you see like these massive dumps, these sell-offs kind of happen. They're all controlled and then they recover because they're trying to shake out retail. And that's why I think that a lot of these institutions were accumulating an absolute fucking a fuck ton of XRP while it was delisted from major exchanges. And now people, are buying in at $1, $2. They're their buying power is a lot less now, because when it was at 20 cents, you could acquire a lot more XRP, right? So, I mean, you'd get five for every dollar, essentially. Now it's like you get one for every, or actually now you get half for every dollar. So, there is a big difference, right, in terms of getting 5 XRP per dollar versus half. So, I do think that a lot of these institutions, they kind of don't want retail to be a part of this thing. All right, let's go to, unless you have anything to add in terms of escrow, go ahead, XRP.
So real quick, this should have tied in with the lawsuit power slide. The whole point of that lawsuit, and this is allegedly, I'm not claiming anything, I'm not claiming, I have no inside sources at all, but I believe the whole point of that lawsuit is, if they would have declared XRP a security, that means they would have made it more harder for retail investors to actually buy in. There's a thing called accredited investors, where you have to have a certain amount of money, a certain amount of threshold in order to purchase XRP. So for example, this is an example. Let's just say they said, hey, XRP is a security. If you want to buy XRP, you can as a accredited investor. You just got to have $5 million. That would have kept, AKA the pores, out of it. Like, speaking on your point. So that was a little bit part of the lawsuit. So when it was said XRP is not a security, it's a win that everybody can invest in it however they want, obviously legally.
Right. Yeah.
I'll touch on the next point, but that's how to say for that.
So it's central banks, regional banks. It says Ripple has partnered with over 80 central banks. There are about 195 countries in total. All banks have to comply with ISO 222. So eventually, all banks, I'm assuming that's blanks to banks, will be on board. In the USA, Ripple has partnered with Wells Fargo, Citi, Bank of America, and JP Morgan. Bank of America has a patent that will utilize XRP. Bank of America and Wells Fargo has claimed as soon as the lawsuit is 100% over, they will, quote unquote, flip the switch. Expand a little bit upon this flipping of the switch and the ISO 222, because I've seen a lot of the stuff regarding the ISO 222 stuff. If you want to expand for some of the people because, a lot of people don't understand this stuff, right? Like, crypto is kind of sometimes goes over people's heads, and it's very complicated, very confusing, a lot of moving parts. Simplify it for some of the people out there, XRP.
So the ISO 222, I'm not going to explain it now. It's going to be later in the bulleted points later on slides. So I'll say that for now. But let's talk about Bank of America. Bank of America literally has a patent that uses like the XRP ledger. They honestly said when that lawsuit is over, 100% over. Right now, the lawsuit is 99.99% done, right? But Bank of America said, hey, when that lawsuit is over, we're going to utilize the XRP ledger, and we're going to flip the switch along with Wells Fargo. And like I said, in the United States, Ripple has partnered with Wells Fargo, Citi, Bank of America, and JP Morgan Chase. There's the fifth bank, largest bank, I believe, is United States Bank, but I see no partnership with Ripple right now or in the future. So I did not include it on there. So
gotcha.
There's 5 large banks. I only put 4. I couldn't find nothing on United States Bank, for example. So, and the term in the community, when they say flip the switch, that means they're going to tokenize their assets or put their money in the on-demand liquidity pool in order for the price to go up. Like I said, what you said earlier in the slides, David Schwartz is like, if you want to utilize XRP, it cannot be dirt cheap. It cannot be. That's why we call it flip the switch, because one day, out of nowhere, you're going to see $5 trillion over on the ledger overnight, possibly surpassing Bitcoin.
Wow. Surpassing Bitcoin. That's fucking crazy.
Or market cap wise. I have to say that, because people will say, look at the price.
Right. Also, Tyler out here says never buying XRP after the founder endorsed Kamala, only Bitcoin. So there's actually, obviously you're not wrong. He didn't fully endorse Kamala. The thing with the business realm is, obviously there's a lot of scrutiny that at the time that they're dealing with the SEC, nobody really knew who would become the president. And to me, it's kind of like a business move. They threw money at Trump equally that they threw money at Kamala. So although I don't agree with it personally, I think it's just the side of playing politics when it comes to this stuff. But Tyler, there's a little bit more truth to that. They threw a lot of money towards Trump as well, and they were actually pictured with Trump a numerous amount of times as well. So that's just my opinion on it. It's kind of politics. With what they're kind of dealing with here, they're kind of in a fucked situation at the time, dealing with the SEC and stuff like that. So although I don't agree with it, but yes, Tyler's not wrong that they threw money at both parties. All right, next page here.
Gotcha.
So it says here, global entities, about 159 countries are set to adopt BRICS' new payment system. An official white paper came out by the BIS that stated that all central banks are going to be forced to use XRP. SWIFT will be working with Ripple for a faster and more efficient payment system. WEF is creating a cashless society and using XRP/Ripple in the forefront. IMF has recognized XRP as a global standard for payments.
Let me expand on this.
Okay, yes,
Okay.
and then I have a video that I want to share here with someone actually talking about this Swift thing too. Yeah, go ahead.
That's okay. Okay, so let's talk about the 159 countries. I'm going to go touch on all 5 points because this is one of the most important slides. The 159 countries are set to accept the BRICS payment system. You've been hearing BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Obviously, they're having new alliances almost every fucking week, pretty much. Saudi Arabia signed on board. I heard Mexico is going to sign on board. They're going to do the new BRICS payment system for that. So that's better for the XRP ledger. And there's rumors, are not even rumors, I think it's in the government of Russia, their paper saying that they are using XRP. So that came out of the Russian central bank or whatever.
Wow.
The next point. This is what made me go all in. This next point. An official white paper came out by the BIS that said all central banks are going to be forced to use XRP. Notice I put caps for force. There's a white paper out there by the BIS, which is the Bank of International Settlements. It's pretty much the king of all central banks. It's basically saying every fucking central bank is going to use XRP. When I read that, when I seen that paper, and I should have linked it, so I'm sorry. When I seen that, that's the moment I went all fucking in. So, say for that. Next one, Swift. Everybody knows about that hack about 2 days ago, where Watcher Guru, I think that's the channel, right? Like,
yeah. There was a big, massive leak. Actually, I'll pull that up while you're talking about it.
Yep, pull it up. Basically say they're going to be working with Ripple, but everybody knew this for years. It's just now it's out there, you know? It was in darkness, now it's in the light. So
they're claiming they were hacked, okay, supposedly on X. They deleted the post. They deleted the post within seconds. And some people are questioning, so was your Facebook hacked as well? All these other sites that they post to. And I do believe that there's leaks kind of happening here. Watcher Guru says, Justin, Swift is nearing an agreement with Ripple to use XRP for cross-border payments, with billions of XRP secured in escrow as liquidity reserves. And there's some truth to this too. If you actually follow the blockchain, you can see that they're not lying. There is a lot of money being moved around constantly into these escrow accounts, right? So, and the fact that Watcher Guru came out was like, oh, we got hacked, on X, we quickly got our account back. Yeah, a bunch of fucking bullshit, if you ask me, because their Facebook was the exact same post here. So, and the fact that they got their account back within seconds to delete the post is obviously bullshit. I do think that there are some internal leaks kind of happening here, and maybe they weren't supposed to maybe post this information. So, as it could obviously be linked back to someone who actually gave them the information itself. So, just something I want to add there to what XRP is saying. Go ahead, man.
All right, next, the WES, the World Economic Forum. Look, dude, I'm gonna be real. I think they're evil fuckers. I'm sorry. I think they're evil fuckers, but I had to put in a point for this. They are trying to create a cashless society using XRP and Ripple in the forefront. Make as you want for that, but that's what I truly think. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna comment more. IMF is the International Monetary Fund. I hope I'm not making shit up, but it's pretty much the BRICS system, but for our alliances for the United States, pretty much.
Gotcha.
But they recognize XRP as a global standard for payments. I should have put gold standard, but whatever.
No, that's okay. And also, I there's something that too, like there's a post here that I can share for everybody real quick. We're going to take a look at this video. Some people believe that XRP will be gold backed, which could send the price up to as high as 2,953, which is a very real possibility as well, right? Nobody really knows how this asset is going to be treated forward. But, for me, taking a bet on this, Cardano, Bitcoin, Ethereum, I feel like you kind of have like a golden parachute essentially when you have like someone as big as the United States with billions, if not trillions of dollars that they can utilize and move into these projects. I mean, for God's sakes, you just saw the other day, the UAE is dumping 1.4 trillion into like a bunch of infrastructure in the United States, right? So there is most certainly money to be made off of this. And I do believe that just the fact that it's being added into a crypto reserve that the United States is going to utilize is kind of like a golden parachute. Yes, it could probably temporarily go down. It could probably still be fucked with things like that. But when you have something as big as the United States with over 300 million people living in the United States reading this and finding out about this, there's a lot of people out there who haven't even purchased their first XRP coin yet, right? So just imagine how big it's going to be whenever they actually push through a lot of this stuff regarding crypto. I mean, we literally, even Trump has said it. He wants the United States to be the leader in terms of crypto development in the financial realm of this world. So I think it's very much bullish, right? And people need to learn this. Simply that crypto is for the longest time, for many, many years, people said, well, crypto's a scam, crypto's a scam. Well, you tell me why over 10 years ago, right, you could basically buy Bitcoin for $1, and now jump to today, you could basically, for one Bitcoin, you can put on a down payment on a house, right? That's the shift that we're seeing in the financial market. The same people that were screaming it's a scam 10 years ago are the same people that are buying it at 80,000 today. Let's go to the next page here. Or actually, hold on. Before we do that, I want to play this video here with, since we're on the term of Swift here. And no, not Taylor Swift. All right, let's take a look at this video real quick. This guy breaks down. It's just a very short clip here. He says XRP has been successfully tested on Swift networks by over 11,000 banks. 1% of Swift's network, we will witness the rise of XRP to over $100 per coin.
Swift is the preeminent messaging system for the financial industry, which covers, say, payments, FX, trade, in terms of securities, etc., nostra reconciliations, etc. What we're looking with crypto, though, is where Swift would have a store and forward system for most of its payment transactions, where you need service level agreements that in a certain time I will do something, but payment turns up at a certain time during the day. Here we're looking at the new network styles, which allow instant, real-time movement of the funds and visibility of those funds as well. So we would not have a situation where banks need to come back to you and say, have my funds arrived? It's 3 days later. I need to find out or find query messages moving around the network. There's nothing like that. I don't believe Ripple is going to replace Swift. Ripple is one of the complementary networks which is going to allow those institutions who need real time to make use of that. And I think we're also seeing that Swift are changing their network capability so that real time will be a possibility as well. But we may also see Ripple XRP moving across the Swift network as a currency when we're perhaps using something like FX.
So again, you got to see the benefit of being able to move money fast, right? I mean, banks are dealing with trillions of dollars a day, right? There are all sorts of banks and countries and things like that. And one of the main things that they're lacking is being able to send money from one side of the globe to the other side of the globe in less than 3 days, right? Right now, they have this like 3-4 day delay when people need money, right? And to basically to run, whether it be their countries, their banks, whatever it may be, people need money quick and fast, right? So XRP most certainly does kind of speed up that process regarding that. Go ahead, XRP. I need to use the bathroom real quick, so you can go ahead and if you want to add anything real quick and then go to the next page, you can display the next page. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Okay. Damn, I kind of need them for this shit. All right, I guess I can do it myself. Anyway, so if you see the CBDC developments right there, you see the BIS over there, and you'll see MasterCard and Visa. They're also, like I said, they're a Ripple partner for that. You'll see Hong Kong, the National Bank of Georgia, and several other banks around the globe for that. On the bottom corner, right there to the left side, you'll see the global standard bodies. Some of the people he was talking about. Right there, you see the United Nations. I don't know how they're going to implement it, but they are somehow. You see, the WEF. You already know my comments about that. You'll see the World Bank right there. The biggest one I do see in this thing is also ISDA. I believe it's the International Swaps Derivatives Association right there. They control the derivatives market globally. We're going to be talking about that pretty soon in the PowerPoint. Yeah, pretty soon. And that. Then you see over there in the top right corner, you know, for payment innovation, you see Bank of America. We already talked about how they're going to be using XRP in their patent. A bullish one also is Standard Chartered Bank right over there, major Ripple partner for that. Then you'll see the Interledger Foundation. You'll see that's kind of somewhat intertwined with the XRP ledger. Right now, one of the logos you should recognize is Fed now. It's the payment. It's the Federal Reserve CBDC, central bank digital currency that the Fed is going to be used. There is a little update I want to say for the United States customers for that. From my understanding, Donald Trump got rid of central bank digital currency. I think he signed an executive order. Okay, be wrong about that. Then right there you see Volante, like I said, intertwined with pretty much with the system, right? Also SBI. Now the thing about SBI is just that they're like the main investor of Ripple and XRP. I think there was something going around that one of the Japanese banks was giving out a dividend, or they'd be giving out a dividend in the future. Instead of paying you in money, they're going to pay you in XRP, which is pretty cool for that. Then on the bottom, industry organization, you'll see the Digital Pound Foundation in the UK. Unfortunately, they are going to go the CBDC route for that. You got the Faster Payments Task Force, you know, the Digital Dollar Project, and Module Loop and all that stuff.
Wow. I mean, yeah, just kind of looking at all this stuff with the CBDC developments over here, a lot of companies involved, right? Very interesting stuff. All right, let's go to the next page.
Gotcha.
It says here partnership / NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. It says Ripple has over 1,700 NDAs with major corporations / government / banks. American Express, MasterCard, Visa, HSBC, SBI, Amazon, Apple, Google, MoneyGram, Federal Reserve, CTFC, BlackRock, NASDAQ, plus many more. The Ripple / XRP lawsuit has suppressed all NDAs due to uncertainty for regulators and also investors. When the lawsuit is 100% over, all NDAs will come to light, which will bring the true value of XRP. Where are we regarding those lawsuits? I mean, we're pretty much I know that they had a major win regarding the stuff, but I don't think it's been officially like cleared,
Yes.
right? With
Yes.
the SEC, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
Like I said, maybe we should spend on the lawsuit PowerPoint a little bit longer.
It's getting there, right? I mean, it's basically like the Bed Bath and Beyond law or bankruptcy, right? Like you see all these lawsuits, like they get delayed, things like that. So, you know, at least for this is kind of getting wrapped up here regarding XRP. So that's a pretty big benefit. But we know, you know, kind of extensively understanding how the Bed Bath process kind of works in terms of like lawsuits and stuff like that. They can be very lengthy and take time, right? Even when they're right at the end. Take a few of the other lawsuits that we've kind of seen, you know, one of the major ones being like the Bratya case, right, with Bed Bath & Beyond. You've seen back and forth, even when they kind of clear certain lawsuits and they deny certain things or approve certain things, there's still a process of waiting. So, but I do think it's pretty much wrapped up at this point.
So I have 2 points about this. So the last bulleted point, obviously, for that. In order for the NDAs to come to light, the lawsuit has to be 100% over. Let me just simplify it for everybody. We won the lawsuit. It's over. It's done. But it's not 100%. It's 99.99. It's like this. You go to the gas station. You play the lottery, right? You won. Like you won the lottery. You got all 6 numbers right. You're like jumping up and down. Then you go and ask, okay, what's my prize? And they're like, well, we got to get back to you. We didn't set a price yet.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck, I just won the lottery. Yeah, we still got to decide. Could be $2, could be 10 million. We haven't decided yet. That's where it's at right now.
Yeah,
they're just trying to get out the little details. So one of the big details is is that does Ripple have to pay that $125 million settlement fee still? You won, but do you have to pay out that fee?
Right.
That's the big question rolling around. And there's some regulatory little minor things. Now, another one I do want to bring to light that nobody really fucking talks about. Maybe we talked about on your show. Notice the BlackRock on there, right? Now, and we know BlackRock, very famous, right? You know who's also famous too? Citadel. Sorry about that. Citadel. BlackRock and Citadel are going to make a stock exchange the first tokenized stock exchange in Texas.
I heard
right?
about that. Yeah.
Rumors are spreading that it's pretty much going to be running on the XRP ledger. Do what you want with that information. So I'll say
Really?
that. That's the rumor. Like
That's not good, in my opinion. I mean, the fact that, they heavily manipulate a lot of stuff. I hope that it's just simply a rumor, right? When it comes to regarding that.
Like I said, nothing BlackRock does at Citadel's really good, allegedly. So I'm not going to sit that. We already stated that we're just here for a money opportunity. Mm-hmm. So if BlackRock puts a little $10 trillion there and we benefit, sell you XRP, I'm golden. Like I said, evil. I don't want to say this, but evil.
Sell the XRP, put into GameStop and bankrupt Citadel.
Yeah,
not a bad idea. Yeah,
dude. Remember,
not a bad idea.
You got to remember, this coin. Once again, it's not for us. It's not. It's just through decentralization we have the opportunity to get inside of it. Just put it like that.
Yeah, I think if it was up to them, right? Because there's really no way of doing this. But if it was up to them, I feel like. Let me add XRP back in here. If it was up to them, I feel like it would be basically, if it was completely up to them, they wouldn't want retail to own this at all, right? They want to keep it within the rich and stuff like that. And that's why I think a lot of them are betting that, look, the second that they get trillions of dollars moved into this asset and it runs up to $100, you're going to have a lot of retail sell and go the other way, right? Same thing with like Bitcoin. Bitcoin used to be $1. When it went to 100, a lot of people sold it. And I think that you could, in fact, see the same kind of thing. And then years will go by. And eventually, I do believe that we could see something overnight where you see 10,000 per coin. Once they see a lot of the retail positions kind of liquidate their positions, probably at $100, $200, maybe even 300. That's when they're going to run the fucker up to 10,000. Because look at, just an example, look at Bitcoin today. It will never, okay, ever in a million years will Bitcoin go back down to under $1,000, let alone even under 5,000, at least in my opinion. There's too much into investment and there's too much investment on an institutional level for that to now happen, right? And you can even argue the fact that Bitcoin today, it's somewhat not even fully decentralized anymore because you have so many large institutions that own it, right? So that's just, at least in my opinion, is what you're probably going to see, is that you'll have a lot of retail investors out there liquidate at around $100 or higher. And then that's when they truly run it to 10,000, right? Because at that point, all these institutions are going to double, if not triple down at 3 digits. And then they're going to run it to probably 5 or 6 digits past that. So let's go to the next page here.
Gotcha. Oh, just to let you know, Wi-Fi turn off. So we'll see how long it goes to ever start it. But
okay. Yeah. I mean, it's looking pretty smooth so far. Right. So
just let you know. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. ETFs, simple as that. I'll explain it. Pretty much all those companies on the left-hand side, they're trying to make ETFs for XRP, waiting to get approved. It's pretty simple. I mean, if they buy those ETFs, sell to those clients indirectly with their 401ks, pensions, whatever, they're buying XRP. Obviously, you would like to own the real product, but for people that's not familiar with crypto and rather doing the stock form, there's your alternative also as well. I'm going to go to the next one.
It says strategic XRP reserve. President Trump has introduced an executive order to have a sovereign wealth fund for the United States of America, which is crypto based. The funds will be used as a rainy day to fund emergencies. The funds will also be added to our financial balance sheet as well. And I do want to add that Michael Saylor has even gone on record saying that he believes that they can wipe out the national debt, okay, which is trillions upon trillions of dollars via Bitcoin, is what Michael Saylor believes. So you have a lot of CEOs out there that truly believe that, look, we could truly take on this national debt that we have and truly make America a leader in not only wealth, but also all financial sectors across the world. So I do believe that, there's major change coming. And again, some people don't like Trump. I can respect that. I personally do like him. And he's only been president for not very long, right? He was just inaugurated in January. He's only been president for like 2 months. And look at all this change that we've already seen happen across regulatory bodies. And also, you see stuff with Doge too. Doge is kind of, clearing out a lot of this like waste. Even take Bill Pulte, for example. Bill Pulte, director of FHFA, people are not coming into work, it looks like, either, right? So, I mean, you see all this governmental waste, and it goes back down on the taxpayers, right? And our taxes go up. The economy kind of gets trashed, and it's just a mess right now. And I'm not blaming a certain presidency or anything, because I think that this has just been a major issue since 2008.
Biden.
Well, I mean, you also have, like, in 2008, right? You had like a major financial crash, and they didn't really fix this. They just kind of slapped a Band-Aid on it and said, you know what, we'll deal with it again in another 20 years or so. And that's kind of what you're seeing today. So I just want to highlight the fact that, there could in fact be some major changes coming here. And again, Trump has only been president for about, roughly 2 months here. And we've already seen a major overhaul in terms of a lot of these sectors. So like them or hate them, you can't really deny that there's change coming across the United States as a whole. Let's go to the next page here. It says vaults. Ripple has purchased 2 vault custodials. The first one is Medico, which is located in the UK. The second one is a standard custody, which is located in the USA. Ripple is the only fintech company that owns vaults around the world. Ripple will also have their vaults audited monthly by a third-party corporation. All vaults will have physical assets as in gold/silver, deeds, financial instruments as in the USA, bonds, and possibly oil, and also rare earth minerals.
Let me pause real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I did make a little mistake. When I said Ripple's the only fintech, I do apologize. Crypto fintech, crypto company wise, they're the only one was the vaults. Let me just stop right now. So I do apologize for that.
Gotcha.
This is self-explanatory, so we can go to the next one.
Yeah, this is some of them are pretty straightforward.
All right, so next one.
CBDC, the central bank digital currency. It says Ripple is already working with 80 central banks to introduce their version of a CBDC. All banks in the IMF, BRICS, WEF, BIS, and SWIFT has already agreed to use one primary blockchain, which is XRPL. Ripple has already displayed their new product service for the CBDC for major governments and also banks. RLUSD will be the main tech innovation behind CBDC. Ripple already issued bank IDs to over 500 plus banks.
I mean, self-explanatory. This is kind of dystopian shit. 1984. Like I said, I'm not going to touch on too much. I'm just glad, as an American like me, Donald Trump has banned CBDCs, but who knows, with the next administration, they can bring it right back. So let's not make any comments about that.
I do think it's better to move forward without a CBDC just in general, because like cash will always be king. I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot, like, the 70, 80-year-old grandma out there doesn't know how the fuck to spend crypto, let alone probably buy it. Right. So it's like, cash and all this stuff, like there will be probably a major shift, maybe 20 plus years in the future, maybe even 50. But right now I just don't see it. The fact that, people don't realize that globally, the entire world, less than 2% of the entire Earth's population owns crypto. Okay, that is a very, very, very small amount, and it could have increased in the last couple, months to maybe even the last year or two. But the last time that I checked the data back in 2022, maybe late 2022. Less than 2% of the world globally uses crypto, which it could be a little bit higher, but it's not even 50% yet. So, for me, sure, people will argue that CBDCs are good. People argue that they're bad. I personally think that there's not really a use as of right now for a CBDC. Because again, I think that a lot of these projects can kind of flourish with or without it. And of course, cash will always be king. So that's just my opinions on the CBDC stuff. I did want to add also here, this is Steph is Crypto. It says, breaking, Brad Garlinghouse says Ripple has invested over $2 billion into the crypto ecosystem, including XRP integration. If crypto does well, we all do well. Okay, some people say this man knows something. I mean, again, he was pictured with Trump. He has had meetings, close meetings with Trump as well. Same as Michael Saylor. So yes, I think to some degree, these guys know that there's very, very big benefits to investing in crypto.
All right, next slide.
Yeah.
This one I'm bullish for. I'm bullish on this one. Go ahead.
So it says RLUSD, Real USD / Ripple Labs USD, Ripple Liquidity USD. RLUSD is a stable coin issued by Ripple in order to send value without volatility. With each RLUSD moved, XRP is burned. RLUSD is 100% dependent on the XRP ledger, which means RLUSD cannot move without XRP bringing more value to the ledger. Each RLUSD is in fact backed by a 1-to-1 by the $1 USD financial instrument of $1. Example is if the US government told Ripple to print 3 trillion RLUSD, of course, physically backed by the dollar, then that's $3 trillion that's represented on the XRP ledger, which means the price of the native token of XRP will go up in value, which I think is a very good point, right? To kind of lay this out there, which I like XRP.
All right, so this is pretty much self-explanatory. I put the example, good as that. A lot of people should be bullish on RLUSD, but at the same time, it's not going to go to 600. His job is to stay at $1. So,
gotcha. Yeah, you got to understand the difference between RLUSD and XRP. All right. So it says here, global markets, the stock market is worth $125 trillion. The bond market is worth $142 trillion. The derivatives market is worth $1.1 quadrillion. The commodities market is worth $125 trillion. The real estate market is worth $379 trillion. Ripple will tokenize at least 85% of all assets in the world, which kind of shows like what we could in fact see. And because we're on this topic too, you can go ahead and expand and then I'll share this page here. XRP, go ahead.
You're on that page. I can't see it. So,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, if you wanted to expand on this before I show what I'm going to show. Yeah.
So let's talk about the last part. Ripple will tokenize at least 70 to 85% of all assets in the world.
Yes. How sure are you of that?
How sure? I'm pretty damn sure. That's why I labeled the vaults section. The vaults was a really important part of this slideshow because it coincides with this one right here. Basically, already with RLUSD, they're buying United States Treasury bonds already backed on the XRP ledger or the RLUSD, right? So far, we're just having a pilot program for the bond market. Larry Fink of BlackRock, like I said, of them, he's already talking about, let's tokenize the whole stock market. And he's making his own stock exchange. You already see that. The derivatives market, why you went on, to the bathroom break and all that stuff. I was talking about ISDA, the International Swaps Derivatives Association. Also, about swaps, that and GME. We talk about swaps every fucking show, right? Mm-hmm. So technically, GME swaps could be on the XRP ledger, technically. So commodities market, like I said, indirectly, XRP is going to be backed by gold. And I say that I use indirectly very loosely. But yes, commodities as in gold, silver, oil, all that stuff, it can be back on the XRP ledger indirectly. Obviously, the country that poses their own stablecoin or CBDC is gold backed, but that CBDC is back on the XRP ledger. So yes, real estate Ds on the XRP ledger. So like I said, we're not going to get 100% of the market, but we're going to get a big slice of the pie.
I think so. And also I wanted to share this too is this is from, what is her name? This is Crypto Barbie. It says XRP is not only the next Bitcoin on steroids. XRP is here to flip the entire global financial system. Owning XRP will change your life forever. And this kind of adds on to what XRP has in terms of what he has here, right? Like you see, a massive shift in terms of how much money is kind of kept where XRP, Ripple versus the global transfer markets. There's a lot of money, right, to be made essentially here. So I think that, what you're saying is most certainly correct regarding your thesis in terms of, to back a lot of these assets, these $1 trillion assets, there needs to be something, efficient and fast to be able to utilize a lot of these volumes. So well said.
Now, kind of going a little bit too early, but basically is the XRP version for the poor people is XLM, Stellar Lumens, and all that stuff. And they're also going to have some things tokenized on their market. So if you're looking for a cryptocurrency that's decentralized, that's going to be probably worth high in value, that's worth about the people, it's going to be XLM for you. If you feel like Ripple is not going to be for you. So put it out there. But yet they also will be tokenizing some things on their blockchain for Stellar Lumens.
All right.
Next slide. All good?
Yep. Let's hit the next slide.
All right. Remember this video you have to play.
Yes. Give me 1 second here to find it.
Yeah. Play this video. And I put a time point. The main time. We don't have to watch all 6 minutes. I just want the main time point from 2 minutes to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. The main.
Okay. Give me a second here to find it.
Sent you a link on X.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. And let me just double check what the main part is. Basically from 2 minutes to 2:18. Is that right?
You can put 220, but yeah, just 20 seconds.
Just that section. Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's the main part. So you can put this in people's head. Like, this is the main.
Give me 1 second here. Hold on. 2 minutes. We'll go from here. All right.
It does mean all the money is going to be all the wealth that is divided against the total supply of XRP. So if you hold XRP, you own at least one XRP is 1/100 billionth of all the wealth of the human race.
What would that make for the entity Ripple then?
Well, that would make Ripple the World Bank.
Interesting.
Jesus
And
Christ.
Simple
let's
as that.
expand.
Sorry, go ahead.
Simple as that.
Sorry, I can't hear you. What?
I said simple as that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty major, right? I mean, he's basically saying that this is going to be the world's wealthier, and this is why I think that they would like for retail not to essentially own this, right? Kind of a same reason why for the longest time, like, there was really no reason for them to essentially delist this asset at one point due to the lawsuits, right, with the SEC. The fact that they basically took it off all major exchanges and they allowed like banks just to accumulate and accumulate. Now these banks have an absolute shitload of XRP. And some retail investors just simply didn't know how to buy it, right? If you weren't well versed in how to do swaps, and when I say swaps, I mean like swapping from one token asset to another on blockchain, which again, this is very simple for some people who have been in this crypto space for a long time, but for others who are just know how to basically hit buy right in on an exchange, it's very different. It can be a little challenging to understand, right? Because then you have to use like certain sites like Pancake Swap, and you have to use certain certain third-party apps to be able to swap it, right? So I do believe that whatever this gentleman, who is this, Patrick Riley?
Yes.
I think he could in fact be onto something here. So
ready for the next slide?
Yeah.
I'm just saying the 26 I showed you, that's pretty big.
Someone in the chat said start from the beginning and listen for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Or do you think that there's not a whole lot in that video?
Well, I just don't want to waste 6 minutes. The whole video is great. You can just have people let's look at the video like normal, post a link.
Okay.
It's just that main one. I was trying to make a short of this on YouTube Shorts. I couldn't do it. So I had to do this.
No worries. Yeah, we'll post the link for everybody out there if you guys want to watch the full thing. Let's go to the next page here.
Right there.
XRP Ledger. It says here the original architects, David Schwartz, current CTO of Ripple, co-designed the consensus protocol and underlying architecture of the XRP ledger. Known for his expertise in cryptography, all right, and in distributed systems, Jed McCaleb, co-founder of Ripple, later founder of Stellar, played a major role in the early development of XRP Ledger. They left Ripple in 2014 to create the Stellar network, focusing on cross-border payments for the unbanked. Arthur Brito, co-creator of the XRP Ledger, less publicly known, but was heavily involved in the technical development of the XRP Ledger, remained mostly behind the scenes and focused on architectural design.
Okay. 2 people I'm going to talk about. Arthur Brito, I'm not going to talk about him. It's really just self-explanatory.
Okay.
He went ghost. David Schwartz, I'm not going to talk too much about him, but I will say something very interesting. Bitcoin was founded in 2008, right? Or made in 2008, right? No, Bitcoin was made in 2009 due to the 2008 financial crisis, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Did you know David Schwartz has a patent about cryptocurrency, cryptography, but he published that in the 1980s? Did you know that?
I was not aware of that. No. Wow.
I got it on. I can. Damn, I don't want to edit the.
It's like a fucking time traveler or something. Who the fuck was talking about this shit in the 80s?
He has it. Now, I'm not saying it's similar to Bitcoin. It's not similar to Bitcoin. I'm not saying that. It could have changed over time. But
Sure.
it's the fact that he has a patented, almost related to cryptocurrency back in 1980. I think it was 1989.
That is impressive.
It is all there. So I'm just like, I could probably post the image. You know what? I'm gonna send you the image on X. I'll just send it to you. You post it.
Sure.
Now, Jeb Michaela, this is where it gets a little sus. All right, a little sus. This is allegedly. Remember, we're not trying to get sued. You know, it's just speculation. But let's just say when he was part of Ripple, he was trying to do some things, and I'm just trying to say this lightly. He was trying to do some things that was against the board. The board of directors, the team want to go one direction. He tried going another direction. You know, some say he tried to dump, but couldn't fully dump the coin. That's allegedly. Some people said he was trying to do some Facebook giveaway. Board said no. This is all alleged. You know.
What year was this?
I mean, I can't remember 100% sure, but it said left in Ripple in 2014. It was probably around that time he was trying to do it.
Okay.
But what did he do next? He creates Stellar Lumens. Like focused on cross-border payments for the unbanked. Remember, we was talking about how XRP is for the institutions. If anybody wants an alternative, do XLM. Now you feel like you have a lot of morality in your life. I don't know. You know,
XLM is still like 20 cents, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I think it was 27 when I checked it last.
H bar as well is one of them too. Like I heard that there's some stuff. H bar is also partnering with Swift as well. So you could see where it's like it's not necessarily just XRP alone. You could see like XLM, XRP, and also H bar. You know, kind of all work together in terms of like this crypto space. I don't know. You know, I don't think it will solely rely on just XRP itself. But there have been articles about H bar. And there's some connections to Swift with
it's later in the slides.
I have like partnerships.
Slides. I have some things later in the slides. Okay, but I will say this one thing though. Let's just say you don't take this video with a grain of salt. Let's just say you ignore this Ripple video. Let's say Ripple in the future just hit $200, right? Then you're thinking, damn, maybe I should have listened to XRP or PP, whatever. You know, like I said, not financial advice.
Well, people should do whatever they want with their money, but sure, if they like what they hear and they make their own financial decisions, right? It's solely up to them. So, you know, again, like you know, for me, I've always gone against the grain, right? I've heard a lot of people, over the years, say XRP is worthless, XRP is shit, it's delisted, it's going nowhere, and I was buying it at 20 cents, and now jump to today, my investment is over 600+%, right, on that alone. So, again, you know, I typically like to go against the grain, right? And I think that more people should. You know, I don't think you should take this video. I think you should take this video with a grain of salt because nobody truly knows where this sector is going to go. The only thing that we can do, right, as investors or individuals ourselves, is come together and have these kinds of conversations, and kind of push the envelope a little bit and see, you know, what the potential could in fact be. So, just to reiterate that. Yeah, go ahead, XRP.
But yeah, just in case you don't, like I said, non-financial advice. If you miss out on XRP, and let's just say you miss out on XLM, I will look into HBAR. That is freaking blockchain on crack and heroin. It's great.
Right on.
I'm gonna go to the next slide. But yeah, sure. HBAR, yeah, keep an eye. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, I bought some HBAR the other day. It's very, very low. So decentralization, it says the XRP ledger operates without a central authority, ensuring trustless and permissionless access. It's a consensus protocol. Its consensus protocol is designed to prevent a single entity from controlling the network itself. Decentralization promotes security, transparency, and also censorship resistance, which I think is very key as well.
The one thing I'm going to say about this, obviously, you look at the XRP, it looks evenly divided because of the nodes and the validators, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Apparently, with Bitcoin, like I said, you just mentioned earlier, where Michael Saylor and all the other institutions buying a lot of Bitcoin.
Yes.
You know, all that stuff. But also, if you go buy a bunch of miners, you can control the network. That's why there was a thing going around about China, allegedly, don't want them after me, allegedly about China, how they have a large pool of Bitcoin like miners, and they control the network. So people are saying Bitcoin is Chinese controlled. So bring it up to there. We can go to the next slide.
It's a good point. I mean, it's something that needs to be discussed, right? It's like how many institutions in China versus how many institutions in the United States or even globally own Bitcoin, right? Michael Saylor, you know, I don't know. It's kind of hard to see from this graphic here. I'm not sure what pie slice Michael Saylor would kind of fit into. They own, you know, MicroStrategy. They own a lot of Bitcoin in general. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point, especially when you consider these Bitcoin miners and things like that. But again, I think one of the main driving factors when it comes to Bitcoin and being like a digital reserve for gold is primarily because there's only ever going to be, I think it's 14 million coins, or maybe it's 19 million. I can't remember the exact
21 million.
amount. 21 million ever to exist. And how many have been mined up until this point? Like
18 or 19 million?
Yeah. So I mean, it's and I think they said that by the year 2040, I think the last Bitcoin will have been mined. So
I don't want to correct you. Like, I'm not trying
no,
to
you can. Again, this is
It-
just like many years ago. I had kind of read about some of this stuff.
yeah. I heard it was 2150.
2150, that's what it was. Yeah,
That's what I
to
heard.
mine the last Bitcoin, because it's getting even every year that goes by, it gets harder and harder to be able to mine this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like back in the day, 2010, right? 2009, you could pull up your shitty ass little old laptop, you could mine fucking 10 Bitcoins a day, right? Jump to today, you can't really do that. You need these ASIC miners, is what they're called, right? ASIC. They're typically called ant miners as well. Typically these ant miners go for about $60,000-$70,000 for one machine, right? And this thing can output, I think it's like some of these machines can output like a quarter to a half a Bitcoin, I think a month or something like that. So it does, or maybe it's even a lot lower than that. So just the power of being able to mine it every year that's gone by, it gets harder and harder and harder. And that's kind of why what XRP is saying, that by the year 2150 is when they'll finally mine the last Bitcoin, because by then, God knows what kind of like supercomputer machine that you'll need. Probably even a retail person won't even have the money to acquire a machine that could even mine Bitcoin at one point. But they typically use these ASIC miners that are like, they typically go for 50, 60,000 a machine. So
Next one.
Ledger Consensus is a collective of independent servers maintaining the XRP's ledger's network integrity. They collaboratively validate transactions through consensus, ensuring accuracy and consistency. The consensus model enhances reliability and network resilience. Uses the XRP Ledger Consensus protocol, which doesn't rely on mining or staking. Right on. I used to mine a lot of Ethereum back in the day.
Right.
Pull out the graphics cards, mine a bunch of fucking Ethereum every day. I liked when it was proof of stake, at least personally. Nowadays, you jump to today, proof of work was where it was at, because you could be making hundreds of dollars a day mining at one point. I think when the height of which I was mining, I used to have an absolute shitload of GPUs mining. I think the most we had was about 30 or 40 machines, 3080s, 3070s, 3060s. I mean, we invested a lot of money into it a couple years ago. And we were mining quite a bit of Ethereum daily. I mean, we're talking $500, $600, $700 at one point. When there was these major spikes on the network as well, when there was a lot of people sending Ethereum at the time, we were hitting as high as 3,000 a day at one point, but that was very temporary. Like, it's not like we were just hitting 3,000 a day every single day. There'd be these spikes throughout moments where, we would be making a lot of money per day off of our machines. And luckily we could kind of see the writing on the wall with proof of stake, stuff like that. So we took all those machines and we resold them basically back out. And then we made money because at the time, not only were we making money on the Ethereum that we were mining, we also, the GPUs at the time had like skyrocketed based to a lot, primarily due to a lot of the maybe it was it was tariffs, or it was like something to do with the mining chips at the time, where they couldn't get them from China. So I mean, we were selling our graphics cards for like $2,500 a piece at one point. So
they rose those chips. And I remember this article a few years ago about NVIDIA. They rate like to get a graphics card literally for a PC, because the PC master race want to play their video games and stuff, right? But the moment they found out blockchain, mining or miner in general, they fucking hiked those prices up.
Yeah.
They caught it a little too early. They caught it a little early. And I believe they was trying to ban some of the GPUs, saying it was taking too much electricity output.
Yeah, the electricity wasn't too bad. I mean, like for us, we had a retail location and we had signed the electricity deal like back in, we had like a 5-year contract. I think we signed it in 2019. So like we were paying like fucking nothing for electricity at the time. Or maybe it was COVID actually, 2020, when we did we had to renew our electric contract, and because of 2020, right around that COVID time, like everything was at like all-time lows. So we signed a excellent contract regarding our electricity at the time. So we were basically mining for free at that point. So it was pretty nice back in the day. But then they switched it to proof of stake, right? So it's like they went to proof of stake, and proof of stake only benefits like these major institutions that own like, you know, hundreds of thousands of Ethereum, right? Because like now, instead of the proof of work being like, you know, retail people being able to mine this shit, really it's institutions that are making a lot of the money staking now. So unless you have like an absolute fuckload of Ethereum and you stake it, that's really where the money's at. And the same thing, like you saw, there was this one CEO I'd read about, he's staking 20 million Ethereum right now, and he's making 3 million a year passively. So it is very cool.
Next one.
Yeah. Security, it says consensus protocol uses a unique consensus algorithm instead of proof of work, making it resistant to 51% attacks. Validator diversity, decentralized network of independent validators ensures network integrity and security. Amendment voting system changes to the ledger require validator approval, preventing unauthorized modifications. It also goes on to say built-in anti-spam measures. Transaction fees are burned to prevent spam attacks and ensure network reliability.
So the only point I'm going to make on here is the built-in anti-spam measures. I just hate it. Honestly, I'm going to be real. If I had to be bearish about XRP, the number one thing I'm bearish about XRP is the burn rate. I absolutely fucking hate it.
It's very low, isn't it?
It's low, but I fucking hate it because you're getting rid of this great technology. Just so, you know, you're getting rid of this technology. You're burning it so fuckers won't spam the network and shit, you know? So it just sucks, but I know why it's there, but you're really burning XRP technology. That is hard to get back.
But the transaction fees are finite, right? They're 30 cents. I mean, this isn't, at least in my opinion, it's, I mean, sure, like, you know, they're burning a little bit, but it's a very finite amount.
No, it's a double-edged sword. That's why I'm like, I'm okay with it, but now I hate it. So if you're making transactions with XRP, you're burning it. That's great. That's why we got these low transaction fees. But now some fucker wants to spam the network multiple times, like 250 million times. They're constantly burning it, and wasting it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm mad about. You know, that's the bearish thing I don't like about XRP is the burn rate. How they had to use this for anti-spam.
Well, you have to look at it. You have to look at it too from a beneficial side. I mean, if they do burn, God knows, you know, let's say like 10 years from now, with the amount of transactions, the amount of fees, and they're burning, that's even less XRP.
No, just positive.
You know what I mean?
Just positive, but that's just the little bearish side of it.
Gotcha.
You know?
I don't view it as bearish personally, but I can see your opinion on it.
Yeah. Ready for the next one?
Yes. Nodes and validators says nodes store the XRP ledger's complete transaction history and broadcast transactions. Validators are trusted nodes that participate in the consensus process to verify transactions. High-performing validators gain reputation and also influence in the consensus process. The ledger network comprises of approximately 862 nodes and 190 divided by 35 validators. What is that last part there?
Okay, so let me explain this real quick. So the nodes one is accurate. The 190 validators, that's also accurate. So there are 190 validators. It's just back in one of the PowerPoint slides, when you pass amendments, I think they pick 35 validators. I could be wrong about this, but they pick 35 validators to approve an amendment or not, pretty much.
Gotcha.
I think it's further in the slide. I don't think we touched on it yet. We'll touch on it a little bit later. But there's 190 validators, but they need 35 validators to pass a certain amendment. Like, you know, for example, one of the biggest ones was AMM, automated market maker. You can make money by storing your XRP and put some liquidity in it, and you can make a yield payments on it, right? Or you get paid in yield, whatever, right? That needed 35 validators. Those several times they'll try to pass the AMM, it didn't get passed because you need 80% approval. So for example, out of 35 validators, 28 validators approved the amendment, but it has to stay there for 2 weeks. David Schwartz found a little bug inside of AMM, so they, instead of being 28 passed, it went to 27. It restarted the amendment process. You need 2 weeks. They fixed it and got it passed eventually, but it took like 3 or 4 times. I think it's later down the slides. I think I jumped a little too early, but I had explained the 35, and that's why I put an asterisk there for something else.
Okay.
Going forward?
Yeah.
Got
It says here, utility XRP Ledger provides fast, low-cost cross-border payments and settlements. Its infrastructure supports various use cases, including decentralized finance, which is DeFi and tokenization, designed for scalability, supporting high transactions throughput with minimal energy consumption. Go ahead, take it away for us.
Simple as that. I'm gonna go to the next one.
Okay. It says DeFi built-in DEX decentralized exchange. The XRP Ledger has a native DEX that allows users to trade assets directly without intermediaries as well.
So this photo just self-explains it. Just pretty much that is just simple. Like I said, you can trade with anybody or anything, but this right here is using banks and companies right there. But it is truly decentralized. There's a rumor going around that's saying that saying Ethereum, like I said, this is a rumor and it's allegedly that Ethereum has a back door. Basically means, somebody, the founder, co-founder, somebody, if they want to, they can stop a transaction in Ethereum network. Like I said, this is all allegedly, but they can stop a transaction in Ethereum as a back door. While XRP does not have a back door because it's decentralized. And also Bitcoin obviously is decentralized and all that stuff. So just going forward with that. But it shows pretty much a graph right there of people, banks and companies trading with each other. That's all it shows.
Gotcha.
And, like I said, there's no middleman, in a sense. That's right here is the amendment that ties in with the 35 validator. So go.
It says changes to the XRP ledger are proposed as amendments requiring majority approval from validators. Validators vote on proposed changes over a 2-week period. 80% approval is needed for activation. Allows the network to evolve without hard forks, ensuring backward compatibility. Features like clawbacks, NFT support, and automated market makers have been added through this process. How many more slides do we have?
Shoot, let me go on my phone because I don't want to exit off this shit. But we're almost done.
Okay.
Like I said, the XRP ledger, we're just flying through that because it just explained the technology of it. The Ripple part was probably the main thing, but I did explain the technology. Let me go on my thing real quick. Just give it a second.
So someone posted down here, they said, what about, so this is from Michael. It says, what about all these guys on X that are always pushing the quantum XRP ledgers, that if you don't have it on a quantum ledger, it can be stolen off of a hard wallet? That's the first time I've ever heard of this. I've kept a lot of my XRP in an offline wallet for a multitude of years without any issues. I mean, do you know, this is the first time I'm hearing about quantum ledger.
How about this? I'm going to explain that at the very end of the presentation.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm looking at it right now.
That's the first time I'm hearing about quantum ledger.
No, I've been knew about it. I was trying to add it in time, but fuck,
How the fuck would they steal this shit? I don't understand. Because the major thing is that a lot of these hardware wallets, they're not connected, one, to the internet, and two, the fact that they would have to, some of these seed wallets have 24 seed phrases. So very, very challenging to get it all perfectly done. I mean, some people, maybe he's more talking about quantum XRP ledgers. I know that some people said that something to do with like these quantum computers will eventually hack Bitcoin, send it to zero, like a lot of these like hardware wallets. I just don't buy it. I think that truly, especially these hardware wallets are one of the smartest things to keep your crypto in. And you even had like, who's that guy from Shark Tank? Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary like made some video or something. He was like being interviewed and he was basically telling people, you need to keep your crypto on exchanges. I think that's absolute bullshit, right? I've seen the fall of Voyager. I've seen the fall of FTX. Like, do I think that Coinbase could go bankrupt? I really don't, because I feel like Coinbase really truly does do business properly, but I would most certainly never trust all of my money on an exchange. If you have a large amount of money in crypto, 9 times out of 10, almost a 10 out of 10, all of these giant whales, they use hardware offline wallets, right? To store their crypto, because that is untouchable. If this exchange goes bankrupt tomorrow, you're out of however much money you have on that exchange. It's, and people need to understand that it's not like a stock, right? If you have a bunch of money in stock and that exchange goes bankrupt, you're basically protected up to $250,000 worth of whatever stock that you own, basically due to the FDIC insured stuff, right? It's no different than keep your money in a bank. But when you have crypto, let's say you have $100,000 in crypto on an exchange, it can most certainly, you can most certainly lose all of that if the exchange goes bankrupt. And you saw that happen too with like Voyager. You saw that happen with FTX, but they are starting to pay back a lot of people out. But those are the main problems, is that, it's really not safe to keep your crypto on said exchanges, right? Maybe to some degree, sure. You can send it from a hardware wallet to an exchange if you plan to sell and profit, but long term, you most certainly shouldn't keep it on exchanges at all. At least in my
So
opinion.
real quick, I think we have 11 slides, but like I said, the XRP ledger, we're flying through them. It's not even that
Sure.
big.
Okay.
Just
Let's
plain
go ahead.
technology. At the end of the slide, I will explain the quantum thing that Michael has. And that's a great concern, and I look deeply into it. So we will touch that. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Pass the next one.
Yes. Interoperability. Interoperability. It says XRP Ledger aims to connect with other blockchains for seamless asset transfers. Proposed solutions to enhance compatibility with networks like Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other alternative cryptos. Compatibility with international financial messaging standards for better integration with banks. ISO 222. It says future developments, ongoing efforts to expand use cases through DeFi, tokenization, and also smart contracts as well.
Okay, so I'm gonna touch this. Like I said, we're gonna run through these. XRP is simple. For this one right here, interoperability is basically working with all ISO 22 coins. If I can remember offhand, it is XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, Quant, IOTA, Algo, and 88, which is Cardano. Those are the 8 altogether. They're going to be working with each other with ISO 222, right? And they're going to work seamless. The main component of ISO 222, which people don't know of or people will debate, but it is Quant. That coin Quant, I will also look into that. Not financial advice, do your research, but Quant is a very good coin for what it does. And like everybody is going to like it because there's only like 50 million coins, something like that. Not 100 billion like XRP, so you can definitely make money. So I put that enter for that. Now we'll say this, and I forgot to include this partnership. XRP/Ripple is going to be partnered with Elixir blockchain, and they're going to connect the XRP ledger to 55 other different blockchains. That's where you get the interoperability. So basically, it just means pretty much XRP is going to connect with a lot of more blockchains. Like so far with Elixir partnership, it's going to be 55. Then we have the ISO 222 standards with the 8 cryptocurrencies out destined for it. So I'm going to go to the next one. So pretty self-explanatory.
Yes.
And this right here,
what are we looking at
right
here?
There. So right there in the middle is Quant right there. It's pretty much there to control or to connect to all blockchains. You'll see Ripple. You see Stellar Lumens. You see how Stellar Lumens is with IBM. You see on the bottom, Hedera Hashgraph right there, integrated. Accenture, one of the board members was on Accenture. Going across is with IOTA to control the security things. You got Algorand with smart contracts. You have XDC to control basically supply chains and paper trades. You see a little bit of Ethereum right there above Quant. But this right here is the ISO 222 standards. Now, the thing about the ISO 222 standards, remember, all banks have to comply with this messaging system. So technically, and not financial advice, if you invest, you don't have to do XRP, but if you invest in one of these crypto assets, you're going to make some type of money. So there you go. And even DAG is on the bottom. I forgot what DAG does, but I believe it does something with security. So I'll pick up some DAG too, which is it's known as Constellation. Yep, Constellation. But that is the ISO 222 standards right there. They're going to be using these cryptocurrencies and all the standards. All the banks are going to be utilized in some way, some form. So you don't have to do XRP. You can do this, and you're all golden. Any questions?
Nope, we're good.
Right, next one. There you go.
RWA and tokenization, it says real world assets. The process of issuing digital representations of assets on the XRP ledger supports a wide range of assets, including fiat currencies, commodities, and NFTs. Enhances liquidity and accessibility by enabling frictionless asset transfers as well.
Simple one. We don't have to
Pretty
explain
straightforward. Yeah.
There you go.
Pre-mine, it says only 100 billion XRP will be the cap. That means there can not be anything over 100 billion that they've already created. This was established when the ledger was officially made. Ripple, the company, doesn't have the power to produce more XRP whatsoever at all. The only way to produce more XRP is by passing an amendment in which it has to go through the ledger consensus, which even then, I don't even think is likely that they'll issue more than 100 billion. the only thing that I don't like is that there is a lot of coins when it comes to XRP, but when you actually factor in the that they need to utilize, they need a lot of these coins because, you know, to be able to move so much money around the world between so many countries and, you know, especially like what we saw earlier with like 11,000 banks, you need a lot of coins, and you can't really do that with something like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is just more of just something that you just store digitally, you know, in the bank. It's no different than gold, right? Like actual, like real, like gold. So that's just my opinion on it. Yes, you know, I wish that it was less than 100 billion, but when you actually look at the scope of things, of how many coins they actually need to make this, you know, the kind of world currency, it does require a lot of coins. So,
and that's why I didn't like the burn rate. Now
Right.
you see why I didn't like it. It was kind of a little bit tied to this.
Right.
The
Yeah,
way
yeah.
they do it for certain things. Transactions, okay. You know, spam attacks, I don't like it. I think even this too. I don't quote me on this, but I believe XRP started doing some XRP meme coins or some shit, whatever, with First Ledger, some shit.
Mhm.
Apparently, if you want to make a meme coin on XRP Ledger, you have to burn 30 coins. I did not like that at all.
I wasn't even aware of that.
So that's what
You're
I'm saying.
talking about when you activate your wallet, right?
I'm talking about when you make your own meme coin.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Because
there's
they
Phoenix coin, there's a Bitcoin Maxis tiers meme coin.
I didn't
It's
know
funny.
that. Yeah.
So it's just that now, if you're gonna make these meme coins and all that stuff, now you're burning XRP, 30 of them.
You have to
Per week.
also, if you open up a hardware wallet, it automatically, for some reason, it burns 10 XRP too. So when you convert it or when you pull it over to like a hardware wallet, it automatically burns 10 XRP. I don't know why that is a thing. It's like some kind of fee or something. Maybe it's even 20 XRP, but they do burn a small portion. So again, you know, this is why it's important now to, you know, if you are going to store this on a hardware wallet, you want to be able to just pay out the 10, 20 XRP that it costs right now to create that, because at one point, you know, if XRP reaches 500 or even potentially 1,000 or even potentially 10,000, you know, it's going to take you about, you know, it could even take $100,000 worth of XRP just to kind of open up your own hardware wallet at a later time. So just keep that in mind. There's like some kind of like activation or something whenever you move it over to the hardware wallet. It's like first time I've ever seen something like that with any crypto.
So anything. So you was right about the crypto wallet needed 10, right? To lock it up, right?
To activate it.
Now, believe it or not, with the Ledger consensus, with the amendments that was passed by the validators, it's no more 10 XRP. Now it's 1 XRP. So if you had 10 XRP on a hardware wallet, now 9 of them just freed up for you to utilize for payments or whatever.
Gotcha.
But they freed it up with the amendments. And that's why the amendments section of this presentation is really important.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm gonna move on to the next one. Pre-explained. There you
go. Payments, it says, facilitates near instant low cost global transactions compatible with various fiat and digital currencies, improving financial inclusivity, and also reduces resilience on traditional banking systems for remittances and also settlements as well.
All right,
it's pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. There's a little thing. When you do a payment on XRP, whatever, it takes 3 to 5 seconds to get approved. Also, the other thing is, I believe right now, is that 1,500 transactions per second. With the amendments on the XRP ledger, they can raise it up. But that's simple. Let's keep going.
All right.
There you go.
It says here, burn rate, a small amount of XRP is permanently destroyed with each transaction, acts as a spam prevention mechanism and increases the scarcity of XRP over time, balances network usage with gradual reduction of total XRP supply as well.
So one thing we already know, supply shock, the more you burn, less demand goes up. So supply shock for that. And when they burn XRP, the actual rate, yes, I'm this nerdish, is 0.000012. There you go. I have no life. Anyway, let's keep going.
All right. It says here, liquidity /ODL on demand liquidity. Liquidity refers to the ease of converting asset into cash without affecting market prices. ODL uses XRP as a bridge currency for instant cross-border payments, eliminating the need for pre-funded accounts. Enhances financial efficiency for institutions by providing real-time liquidity, is what it says.
All right. So this right here, I'm going to make a stupid analogy so you just understand. So you have Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is the new Lamborghini, right? It's the Huracan, right? It's yellow, it's fast with 11 miles per gallon, right? So obviously not as useful, but it's there. Then you look at Tesla, right? And this is Ethereum. Ethereum is like Tesla. It has all the cool gadgets and all that shit, right? So it's cool. It's decent, whatever, right? But then you look at XRP. You know what XRP is? XRP is an ugly ass cargo truck, right? So when you look at a Lamborghini, you think, shit, fucker got a lot of money. When you look at, Tesla, okay, you coming up in the world, you coming up, come on, it's self-drives. Then you look at these cargo truck, which is represented as XRP, you're thinking this thing looks like a piece of shit. But guess what? When you open the back of the cargo truck, you'll see a bunch of money in gold. That's what XRP is. Is there as a bridge currency to take it to point A to point B, basically used for payments. That's the analogy I use for it. So that is tie that in.
Gotcha. It says AMM/LP, automated market maker / liquidity pool token. AMM, a decentralized exchange model using liquidity pools instead of traditional order books. LPs contribute assets to these pools and earn transaction fees as rewards, provides continuous liquidity and efficient asset swapping for traders. Let's go to the next page.
All right. I was going to touch on this just for like 10 seconds.
Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Just for 10 seconds. But so for this basically is that you buy some XRP, you put in an automated market maker. So basically the banks can use the liquidity and use your XRP. For the liquidity pool for that, I know I put token, but for the liquidity pool, you also got to put your United States dollar, your Mexican peso, your Canadian dollars, so on and so forth. So when you put your XRP and put your currency, your earned yield, because you're putting money inside the ODL, on demand liquidity pool, and this is how you get paid out. So we go to the next one.
Okay.
Right here.
Smart contracts is the self-executing agreements with rules directly written into the code, enhances automation, transparency, and security by eliminating intermediaries, potential to streamline complex financial and legal processes as well.
The escrow uses smart contracts, and that's simple. We can go to the next one.
So for people who don't know what smart contracts are, they're basically how you can an example is like Ethereum, right? Where like you can create different types of projects like on Ethereum network, or Solana, for instance, is a good example. You see like all these like different kinds of coins, even PP is built on the Solana network. Basically is like a smart contract, essentially. Let's go to the next page. Callbacks, a feature allowing issuers to recover issued tokens under specific conditions, provides a safety net against accidental transfers, fraud, or regulatory issues, enhances compliance, and also asset management flexibility as well.
Okay, so I do have to explain this a little bit, but I'm not going to go too long.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
So let me just make this clear. You cannot call back any fucking XRP. Once you sent the XRP, it's a done fucking wrap. It's a done deal. But with the Ripple team, XRP, validators, what they have came up with is clawbacks because the banks needed that. So how are you going to send all this money back in the world, but you can't get a refund, or you're trying to get a fraud payment, whatever the issue is. There needs to be a thing to be sent back. So what they came back is clawbacks. So what it is it's going to be a side chain. So basically, let's pick a good bank. I mean, they're all terrible, but fuck it. Let's go with Wells Fargo. Let's say Wells Fargo comes out with his own stable coin, Wells Fargo coin, which there's banks that actually are coming up with that. But let's say Wells Fargo comes up with their own coin, right? And let's just say they backed it on the XRP ledger. Now, I'm a Wells Fargo recipient, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I sent money to someone, and I told the bank, hey, can you recall that money back? They're like, yeah, sure. Bam. And it comes right back. It's there for compliance, and the banks needed that. In order for them to use the XRP ledger globally, this is one of the most important features is clawback because they need to get the money back. Crypto has a history where you send it to the wrong address, you're never getting that shit back ever again. But at least now with XRP, the XRP ledger, because you can't do it with XRP, it's actually now possible. So long story short, there's going to be a side chain where the banks, governments, they're going to issue out coins, dollars, whatever, that the XRP ledger can actually track back. So that was very important.
And they can't like lose the funds or what? Or they still can?
They can't lose the funds.
Even if they're sent improperly?
Even if sent improperly, you have about, I believe, 48 hours to retract it back.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
So
yeah, that's a major thing that's like a major issue right now is like in the entire crypto space is like sending one crypto even by accident on the wrong chain, and you can lose a lot of crypto, right? You've even seen like some people out there get like fucked on some of these fees. Like there was one guy who was moving, I can't remember which crypto it was, but he had moved like $1 million or $2 million in this crypto and ended up paying a fee of like 800,000, or it was like over $1 million in terms of like a fee. So that's really like the major thing that needs to be, we need to see a major like overhaul regarding, is obviously the loss of funds, obviously sending on the wrong blockchain, things like that. There has to be some kind of method to where people just simply don't lose these cryptos, because it happens more often than people realize, right? Where they send the crypto on the wrong like blockchain, for instance, and they lose, their crypto forever. So.
All right, next one.
Yeah. QFS/ISO 222. It says quantum financial system, a global messaging standard designed to improve financial communication and
Interoperability.
Interoperability.
I got it. You're good.
XRP Ledger is built to be compatible with the ISO 222, enhancing its integration with traditional financial systems. It promotes efficient, standardized, and also transparent cross-border payments as well.
All right, simple. Are you sure?
I'm surprised how many people are tuning in. Man, over 4,400 people are tuning in on this Saturday afternoon. Wow.
Oh,
Gotta say, a lot of people like crypto.
Now they're going to call me stupid and fact check me later. All right, I'm going to go with the next one.
Yeah.
Remember, this is all last minute, everybody.
There's a lot more people invested in crypto than you realize, right? I mean, like, a lot of people invested in stocks, a lot of people invested in crypto. And, one of the nice things I like about crypto is that it can be traded 24/7. I mean, you're talking about being able to trade this nonstop, all hours of the day, weekend or not. It's like, for some degenerates, it's like the ultimate fucking drug, man, when it comes to trading, because like through the week, right? Like we're restricted. You have to trade at, when the market opens at like, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, after hours to like 6. And then you can't do anything overnight. With like crypto is why I love it so much, is because you can just like infinitely trade it all the time, right? Like if it's like, it doesn't matter if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I can just go and just buy crypto if I want, or I can sell it if I want to, right? So that's why I think also it's very key that we see also, the tokenization of stocks as well, because at that point, imagine how much money would be flowing if you could be trading 24/7 all hours of the day. Like, I still don't even know why the fucking stock market only lets you trade for a certain amount of hours during the day. I think it's all just kind of a, it's already a fugazi anyways. You might as well just let people trade 24/7 at this point, right?
But they're going forward with that. They are trying to make it 24/7. I think now
they should. They really should. Yeah, they should allow 24/7 trading.
All right,
100%.
Next slide.
All right, what are we looking at here?
Do you want to read it? I mean,
yeah. So it says IMF recognized stablecoins as Stellar XLM and also Ripple XRP have been acknowledged by the International Monetary Fund (IMF), highlighting their potential significance in global financial systems. This recognition suggests they may play a role in facilitating secure and efficient cross-border transactions. It also goes on to say Basel III and banking stability. Basel III is an international regulatory framework established to strengthen the banking sector. It introduces reforms to reduce financial risk by requiring banks to maintain a specific leverage ratio to balance debt and also equity, hold adequate reserve capital to absorb losses during economic downturns. A critical aspect of Basel III is the focus on tier 1 assets, high quality, low risk assets, which is an example being cash or government securities that ensure banks remain liquid and stable. This supports effective market liquidity management, enhancing the resilience of the international banking system as well.
Ready?
Yeah. That's the number I like to see, man. 10,000 XRP. The CTO also says it would function better at 1 million per coin. There's like some kind, I'll have to pull it up next time we focus on XRP, but even the CTO has said, you know what? It functions a lot better if it was 1 million a coin. It just makes sense. All right, I'm assuming that's the end of it. All right, I gotta say, it was a pretty good presentation, and especially for people out there who just like aren't invested in XRP or even crypto in general, I think that it does kind of open these like these segues for people to learn a little bit, right? And again, some people out here may own XRP, some of them don't. And I hope after today, you kind of understand a little bit more about the history of XRP and kind of what they're utilizing here. And, the fact is that the SEC did sue them for, they held them up in these lawsuits for 7 years. They missed 2 bull runs, maybe even possibly 3. I can't remember. I need to look back, but they missed a lot of these bull runs. And this is just the beginning, right? Some people think, well, it's already sailed. It went from 20 cents to $2. No, not even close. Like the United States hasn't even invested into this yet. We are still very early, especially considering XRP's at $2. Cardano is literally under $1. Okay, 70 cents. Ethereum is about $2,000. With some people projecting Ethereum reaching as high as 20, 30, 40,000 per coin. Cardano, for a little bit of history, the same creator that was a part of the Ethereum team, branched off and created Cardano, right? He was like one of the original Ethereum creators. So people don't realize that this space is, we're still very early, right? And I think that the space will keep growing. I think that a lot of these crypto assets will keep growing. And I think people need to understand the importance that the United States of America is going to be the leader in terms of these financial sectors here, including the number one leader in terms of crypto as well, like Trump says. So I hope some people learn some stuff here this afternoon. XRP, some closing thoughts to our, we have about 4,500 people tuning in across all of our platforms, man. What would you like the good people at home to know? Let's hear it.
Well, I still have to answer Michael's questions for the quantum.
Oh, yes, the quantum stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Michael, if you're listening, I don't know, strap in, and for everybody else. Okay, let me explain it. We already know about the rise of quantum computers right now, right?
Sure.
Quantum computers can literally hack almost everything, right? There's a thing called inside the quantum computers, functions called qubits. It's just ones and zeros, but they're able to change the ones and zeros. It's some technological form I barely even understand, right? Right now, for quantum computers, the most advanced one by Google is called, what's it called? Widow?
Yeah, it was, I think something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, they're at 105 qubits right now. In order for a quantum computer to hack the Bitcoin network, it has to reach 100,000 qubits or past that, something like that. So I might be off by the number. So for technology-wise, we're not going to get hacked for a minute. But let's talk about XRP. Now, for XRP there are still on the same, how can I say this? They're still on the same consensus protocol as Bitcoin. If I remember, Bitcoin's protocol that runs on is, what is it? SHS is something like that.
Yes.
256. XRP is also on that. So I'm not gonna beat around the bush. So can XRP, Bitcoin, hell, even Ethereum can get hacked right now with quantum computers? It can happen, but we don't have the technology right now. You need, like I said, about 100 qubits to hack Bitcoin. Right now we're at 105, and that's our latest tech innovation. Now here's the thing about it. There's 2 things I could counter with that. Ripple CTO David Schwartz already said that he's aware of quantum computers, and they're going to have an amendment out there, basically upgrade to the ledger, the XRP ledger, to prevent quantum spans and to be quantum resilient. So that's already going to happen. All right.
Very interesting. Yeah, I wasn't aware of this.
The second thing, and this is why I tell people, H-bar is on crack, herein, literally on both of those things, right? H-bar is going to be partnered with Ripple. From my understanding, H-bar is one of the only cryptocurrencies right now that literally cannot be hacked by quantum computers. H-bar has the latest technology. They're going to be partnering with Ripple and working on the XRP ledger, helping them to enhance security. So I believe the consensus for H-bar, it works on it's not 256, it's a higher one. I forgot what it's called, but it cannot be hacked on the quantum network. So, like I said, David Schwartz is going to change the algorithm, and they're also going to be partnering with H-bar to enhance its security. But yes, H-bar, from my understanding, cannot be hacked by quantum computers, at least not yet. Like XRP and Bitcoin will be hacked way before H-bar, and they're going to be partnering with them. And like I said, they're going to make it quantum resistant. So they are going to be working in the future. They understand the threat.
Wow. Well, there you have it. I mean, it's all a lot to digest, right? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to this crypto sector, and obviously, a lot of the stuff that we discuss. So I gotta say, XRP, it was a fantastic presentation. I think a lot of people out there enjoyed it. Any closing thoughts for the good people at home? Let's hear it this evening or this afternoon. XRP, what do you have for us?
Don't believe me? Go research yourself. Learn
Right
how
on.
to diversify in other assets and all that stuff. All because, and like I said, I'm not sending no shots to the community. All because I'm in GME doesn't mean I have
Mhm.
to stay just in GME. I am also as well is buying bonds for for protection and other financial instruments and all that stuff. Don't
Mhm.
limit yourself. Like please, I believe in, like I said, I believe in Ryan Cohen, CEO of GameStop. I believe all of that stuff. I believe in Bed Bath & Beyond is going to emerge and all that stuff. But also with this XRP, this technology passing by me, I can't let this opportunity slip by me. I miss Bitcoin. I miss Amazon. I miss Tesla. I'm not missing this shit. Like I said,
Right
and like
on.
I said, I got Bed Bath & Beyond and GameStop, so I'm
We're not
good.
missing that one for sure. Yeah, I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking about a huge fucking payout coming for us in Bed Bath and Beyond. So even if people have kind of lost faith, things like that, I think that personally, I think that this play is not for everyone. Especially when it comes to GameStop, Bed Bath and Beyond, it's simply not for everyone. People just want to instantly just become millionaires, but there's a process to this, right? And there's a lot of hard times. There's a lot of moments where you got to keep yourself together, right, to see it towards the end. I mean, you see everybody on X as well right now, like you see it more frequent where they're like begging, Ryan Cohen, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button, spamming and spamming and spamming. And Larry Chang will post and people will go to his post and say, shut the fuck up to him and stuff. I mean, very nasty stuff going on. And this play is not for everyone mentally, right? I mean, you got to really separate yourself from it. If you feel like you're overwhelmed, take some time off, right, from a lot of this stuff. I know that even myself back in December, a lot of this stuff is overwhelming, right? I mean, a lot of us kind of gone through it, and sometimes you need to unplug a little bit, get away from it, and kind of reset your mind, right? And kind of view it from a different kind of lens. So with that being said, yeah, I see the importance. I believe in Ryan Cohen. I believe in our investment. And I believe that a lot of us in these basket stocks are going to make it. But again, some people, they just tend to get a little bit toxic out there. So,
One little thing I have to say, and I have to leave with this, then that's it. I have nothing else to say. But I want everybody just to understand this, try to think about it for a second. When Satoshi Nakamoto came out with the white paper for Bitcoin, right? Those emails going back and forth. The only cryptocurrency and only company he or the group ever mentioned was XRP and Ripple. No Ethereum, no Doge, no Trump coin. It was XRP and Ripple. The only company mentioned on Satoshi Nakamoto's emails. Please, I'm telling you, just try to look into opportunity, do your own research, not financial advice. And I wish everybody have a good day.
Right on. All right. You heard it from XRP. Chat. Let's get some love for XRP on his way out. XRP, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Hope to see you again on the PP Show.
Thank you.
Take care. What an excellent fucking presentation this afternoon, fellas. I mean, again, I've been in XRP for a long time and I learned a thing or two here this afternoon, man. So I gotta say, I was not expecting as many people tuning in across all of our platforms here. Again, 4,600 people. My God, it's a lot of people. We got Maui Sam out there with the 50. Appreciate the love, Maui. Maui Sam wants to know, where does T0 fit in? Maui Sam, does Tarzan call out of the ape nation? I think that T0 will play a role possibly in tokenization of baby, things like that, right? So we could see, in fact, look, I don't like Marcus Lemonis, but I can respect the company. And if, look, it all kind of ties in together with our investment or baby or whatever it may be, that's where T0 is really going to shine. So with that being said, appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys donating. Appreciate you guys again coming here and watching the show here on a Saturday, man. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of the evening, man. Enjoy the weekend. Hope to see you guys next week. I should be streaming next week. I'll keep you guys updated for sure. And with that being said, we'll see you guys next week, and enjoy the rest of the evening or the rest of the day and your weekend. Enjoy the dildo stop the way out. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Take care. Peace.